City of Pauls Valley, if you'll stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for bringing us together today and for the opportunity to serve our community. Guide our hearts and our decisions that all we may do reflect compassion, wisdom, and care for those in need. Help us to work in unity and with purpose. In your name we pray. Amen.
Chance, if you'll reflect on our roll call.
And just to let you know, Jay's not here. Jay went to surgery this afternoon for kidney stones. You're the date.
You
Zip
rotated
ties.
them to him.
Almost did. Almost said it was in the water.
It was the ice cream that did it. It's like analyzed it.
Is that what it was, the ice cream?
Calcium.
Item 5, approval of the consent agenda, items A through E.
I move for approval of the consent agenda items A through E.
Second.
Paul moved and seconded to approve, item number 5, consent agenda. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meisel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 6, consideration of board appointments with possible actions. We don't have any tonight. Item 7, consideration of a funding request from the tourism director in the amount of $6,339 regarding a downtown revitalization project to keep Oklahoma beautiful, April the 11th, with possible action.
Yes, so you guys have a packet for me. It has 3 renderings and a budget sheet. So we just started talking about phase 1 of a downtown revitalization project. This one here is community driven. Keep Oklahoma Beautiful happens every April, so our event will be April 10th and 12th through 12th. That Saturday, we will have volunteers come down, cleaning out some trash and some bump outs. But in hopes that if this is approved, that entire weekend will be spent on all of the projects listed here. So, removal of mulch, root balls, dead plants, replacing with river rock, 70 hanging baskets, replacing the lights that don't work over the streets with solar powered, waterproof, shadowproof lights. Basically just making downtown pretty. And this, again, phase 1, we have big hopes and dreams for phase 2 and phase 3 to complete that. But as you look at the pictures, I think the first one you see is actually across the street at the bank. So you see the hanging baskets on each pole. So we have 35 poles all the way through downtown and different Haven districts. We put 2 on each pole, and the plan is to restripe the street as well while we have that time. And then your next one is of those street lights, how many we'll have. And then your third one is what we're hoping phase 3 will look like with the planters as well. Phase 1, we hope to get just this corner with the planters to start with. So that's what you're seeing there. We've already got the machine to stripe the street, we've got volunteers set up, we've got a plan for the lights over the street. As you see on your agenda, your next item is to close the street. We've talked to every business owner that's complaining on Saturdays and let them know the plan. They seem to be very happy about it, that our roads will look nice, the downtown will look nice. So everybody seems to be pretty much on board with that we can be closed and really trying to revitalize. I went ahead and the total for this project was $8,451. The beautification board did approve $2,113, so that makes this request $6,338. It'll come out of our infrastructure line, which my, total right now would leave us at $12,000.
And prepare for this, I'm sure that all of our council knows that you've had a series of bump out meetings.
We have
And we've walked the bump outs with the group and.
on several occasions. We presented a plan the first meeting and nobody could really come to an agreement. We've had several more since then. We don't have any, I won't say any, we have very few viable plans left. So that was kind of the last topic was let's keep what's viable, but as you walk through them, we have 4 viable plans left. So the idea right now, is to just get everything organized. In phase 2, we can look at planting flowers, we can look at, what that might look like. But phase 1 is just to essentially give us a facelift to get us into next year. These are the hanging baskets. So 2 of these on each pole.
Those are fake. That's what-
These are artificial. This one has been our sample. We had it out during the windstorm. We had it out, through the rain. And I understand artificial flowers is not the dreamiest thing. But again, this is just phase 1. We need something to give us a facelift. We simply don't have the $60,000 in any of our budgets to put real flowers down here. These look really nice. And I didn't refluff this after I pulled it down from the windstorm and the rain today, for that very reason. And this one is not secured in any way. So we have not put the weight in this, and we have not glued this. We have our local florist right here next door. She's gonna help us put these together, to secure them. So for this to have gone through what it went through and not be secured, I'm pretty pleased with
How
it.
much you say they'd be if they were real?
Huh?
How much you say they would be?
$60,000 to put real.
It's almost $1,000 a basket.
Yeah, and it was
And then
like,
we need a maintenance plan.
the maintenance plan was almost $19,000.
Yeah, the maintenance plan for Flowers Downtown was almost $19,000. So, and to touch on phase 2 just a little bit, when we look at putting planters in, we can maintain planters. It becomes a bigger struggle to maintain the whole dump out full of flowers. And to do hanging baskets, it's just, you'd have to water these twice a day if they were real. So, it's not feasible, but for right now, they look great. I think it's what we need to just show some effort in our downtown. It's been a long time since we've put some real beauty in our downtown. So this is the time to do that. It's the perfect opportunity that weekend, to take advantage of our volunteers. We've got several employees that are gonna be here to help us, like I said, stripe the road, hang the baskets, fix the lights. So we're anticipating this is gonna be a really good day. We'll close this.
As you were talking about like the plants that are viable, are there, just so that I'm thinking about what we're gonna see, is there any possibility that any of the bump outs will be bare, where there won't be anything there at all, maybe clean them out, that there may be some bare bump outs?
Yeah, so
That would
in
be
this
too
quote, you have decorative rock. So you won't see just a bare bones, you'll see a decorative rock, it will look very nice.
And the big boulders will be
Yes.
returned as
Yes.
well.
So you
won't
won't
necessarily
just
have
see,
plants in some of them until the next phase.
yes, so you won't just walk up and see a dirt, you will not see that.
And when you say this corner, we're talking about all 4 bump outs right here in the
So-
state.
This plan has all 22 bump outs will have rock in them. Now, the planters, we're starting with just our corner, just outside here, as phase 1, as we kind of get an idea of sizes, what we're gonna plant in them. As we venture into phase 2, we'll branch out into these
So
others.
you're gonna rock all of them right now?
Rock all of them right now, because as we walked them, as you get further that direction, there's no safe. There's just not.
Too overgrown.
They're too overgrown.
Stay that, I think we're leaving 2 of them, right? Mark?
So yes, sorry, we're leaving Marks and Reves. They have requested that we.
Reve's actually spoke to me, she's okay with the consistent plan.
Okay,
I
well then
spoke
we're
to her
just leaving Marks.
earlier this week.
Are we gonna
Which
put
looks
rock
so
in there
accurate.
with it? Are we gonna put rock in with the
We'll
stuff?
put rock as their mulch,
And they'll
we
maintain
won't
what's-
touch, yeah, we don't maintain this, he maintains this.
But the property itself belongs to the city.
Yes, so many
And the
years
bump out
ago,
belongs to the city.
so many years ago, they had a volunteer basis, I wasn't here for that. But they had people volunteer to do bump outs. And Mark does a great job of taking care of this, I will give that to him. And so he has requested that we leave this alone until we have consistent plan. So, I would say in phase two, we'll have to discuss it.
And so that being one of the larger bump outs on this
On the
corner,
busiest intersection.
it's going to look different than the other three.
Well, it'll have the rock. It'll have the
But
rock
it's gonna
mulch.
have.
But it'll
But
have
this,
full-
this one will have planters and the flowers, will have the planters in it.
But it's going to also have the 50-year-old greenery that's overgrown and sitting in there.
In
but
March.
The other three don't look like that.
March isn't overgrown, March was great.
Right.
His style, the rest of
The
it all,
big
the rest of them will look.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, his looks great.
Yeah, if the rest of them look like that, we
It's gonna look stupid with everything else in town, one like his another.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Well.
I wish they all looked like.
By the time we do.
I wish they all
later.
looked like.
I mean, I think it might be, I don't know.
Like I said, I wish they did, I wish we did all like his.
Sometimes people have to see it.
Right, and that
Before
was
they
one
buy
of the agreement there. He definitely wants to see what we're working with before we go. And he, again, his looks
But he
really
has
good,
maintained.
so,
Well, he's been to all the bump out meetings too, he's
Right.
kind of heard.
He has. yeah. So, I think we can approach that in phase two, as we move forward and we have a more detailed plan of what phase two looks like.
So the last time we did something like that, if you look down at the corner across the post office, the old Humphrey Insurance Building, that sidewalk, that building was designed by some sort of famous architect, Bill said, and he brings all kinds of cane up leaving that sidewalk. Look at it now,
Yeah.
it's horrible. Everything's, all the tiles are busting off of it. It doesn't look like the rest of town. It was a mistake. We should have stood up and fixed the sidewalk.
So for planters and artificial flowers.
You guys have the authority to do that. I mean,
So
I will take whatever recommendation you suggest on that.
he just needs to know what's coming.
Planters and
One thing's
flowers,
out.
it's
I don't like
857 just for this.
Just for our
yard. And then plus whatever rocks and maybe about.
So, no, so all the rock for everything down here is including that.
For the.
Yep.
Right, just to give a.
Yeah.
Extension.
So I'll expand. So 4,500, this is rock, that's, we put out to bid for people to come and they will come. A company, will clean them out, clean up all the dead plants, move the blowers, clean out all the stuff and put the rock into every one of them that's here, that we're gonna clean out. Mark's will not be cleaned out, we'll just put rock in it, so it looks, his rock will be like everybody else's rock. But his plant, we won't touch his, other than just put in rock.
You
All the rest of All the rest of them will be cleared completely out, other than what, if there's a bottom plant, they stay. But then all the rest will have rock.
Is there an underlayment underneath the rock itself where stuff's not gonna start coming through the
Yes.
rock? You have to
That's
put the rock
part
in
of
there.
that 45
Yes.
days, we'll lay it there. But there's not one laid down now.
Yeah.
That's our problem.
What we have
This
now
all
is
comes down to, we would love to make it look like what they're doing. But
And you do
to
have
bring them
yeah.
back, we priced out, we got bids to bring them back and put those plants in, which is well above what we have for budget. The other side is that was our whole thing with planters, reduce the amount of dirt so that I can figure out a way to maintain them and I can put so much water. That was part of this process. But the 4,500 is basically getting every one of them cleaned out and rocked and ready to go for the
This
phase
gives
two.
ABC down is just the lowest bid at that price.
They're low.
They are local, yes.
And we had several bids come in for it, and they were all fairly reasonable with it, but you did have them. And they'll clean it out, lay the laminate, or put the rock in, clean up everything.
They'll spray before they do, make sure, if they could spray down, they'll spray them last week. But it'll also help us with maintaining. So yes, that is all part of that $4,500 bid. And he will do it that weekend. So the
All
idea
weekend.
is, yes, the idea is Monday morning, again, that extra person.
Yeah, Monday morning, you
is
walk
street
in,
closure.
Main Street will look.
But by the time we open up Monday morning, the goal is for all will be done, all the lights.
So April 11th, we're gonna start Keep On Plum Beautiful down the depot at 9 o'clock. And we're just gonna march down this street, raking all the mulch out of the bed, bagging it all up, picking up trash, pulling out whatever weeds, that we're gonna work for 1 hour preparing for the next step, which is their step. We're probably gonna clean the alleys from Grant to Clure, is that Clure back here? We're gonna do 2 blocks of alleys as well. And we get free supplies from the state. They've already emailed me that the supplies will be in later on this week. And so they're delivered out here to the ODOT yard, and I go get them, and we have them ready for that day. We have, last time we did this as a big push, we had over 100 volunteers. But that was when Mrs. Hall was still alive, and Lou Hall was our organizer then, so. We've already spoken to Ministerial Alliance, we've spoken to some businesses, we've spoken to Rotary, we've spoken to people who used to do sections in the past, so we're putting the word out for volunteers to show up that day. We have it, I think, on your marquee of your bank, and also the other bank, keep up on views and cycle whatever.
You'll also see in some of these renderings where we place that brick and rail district logo on the block, on the concrete planer. What I didn't include is another idea to stamp in the concrete on a couple corners. So you might not see the same logo, but you would see the logo. So everything would sometimes stay the same.
So part of that, so the little bitty one right beside the front here, the little short one that's got the one boulder in it, that has been hit multiple times with vehicles. It's not cost effective for us to keep the rock there and the dirt there being run over. The water well that's there has been run over, we need to really, and we've talked about it, concrete it in or brick it in, so it's really a street, not a.
Yeah, it gets hit about once.
Yeah. These rock
My
piles.
only other question, I guess, is about the lights, the commercial rated. 'cause I know-
Yes, so they are, so these probably would work if we knew what happened to the remotes. If you notice, sometimes they'll be on, sometimes they'll be different colors. So we're not really sure. These are solar powered, so these come on automatically, we don't touch them. We put them up, they're waterproof, shatterproof, commercial grade. All we do is hang them and zip tie them up and put the little solar in. And the rest is.
We're just worried about how bright they're, most solar lights I see are not very bright.
Well, so we've talked to some people locally that have these lights and some other businesses that have these lights, and that's who suggested them to us.
But the ones that are like Seth Wadley and down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Those are,
So I tried to reach out to some people I knew had lights,
Pamela's got them.
Yeah. and hers are more of that, like, they do colors, these do not, but we went with the brand that most people say are the most.
Well, they can change, you can change the color, they stay solid. They don't-
Yeah, and that was what these did. They're commercial grade, they can change colors, but
So someone else has to control.
somebody else has the control.
Well, if you bought it back that way, during 4th of July, they could be blue, and Christmas, they could be green.
They could. I will tell you the other pain with those is each strand had its own remote control. So I used to in the mornings have to walk. Remember that? I have to walk all the way down with a remote to turn each one on, which I would do again if that's what we wanted. But I would prefer we just.
But these are solar, so they're powered during the day,
Correct.
and they automatically come on at dusk.
Yes.
Good try.
Oh,
Like I said.
We're really slow.
hey, one of the police officers pick you up every morning, go
Yeah.
down the street, click, click, click.
I needed the extra. I still need the exercise. So
Like
if
they
we
don't
go
have
that
enough to
direction,
do.
I'm okay. But
I kinda like the solar power option.
yeah, solar power seems to be the best option, but we'll take all considerations for sure.
So these planters and corners will be done now.
Just one corner,
Just this-
yes. Yeah, phase two.
And who, I thought you told me who's making the planners?
Well, we have two options, at this cost. We either, can have, we buy the mold, which Jacobs is going to pour in the mold that we own, or we can buy prefabbed already concrete, and it's called Brand Wagon, I think. I'll get back to you.
The ones that we're putting out here are prefab, correct? Or the three that we're gonna put out here in
Well, we have two options. Honestly, it's whichever one, once we call them the price, so.
so as long as they're all the same.
So
The
what's
option
up,
of doing, the option of doing all is, we can make as many as we want.
And save money down the line.
And it's cheap, and actually what we've done preliminary is us buying the mold is cheaper than us buying each one. Now, the other option is to go with the prefab metal.
We could do that as well.
We could do that as well, which means it would be a metal instead of concrete, which would look big, a little bit different than your picture. But then
Which-
it would have the metal cut out and you would still have your emblem. which is
Yes.
what that is.
So I talked to OCI, which is Oklahoma Correctional Industries, they make things like that. We're gonna start utilizing them more for other projects. But that is something they can do for us, is do a metal planter, in 2 different sizes on the corner. And the middle would have our logo cut out with a light behind it. Or it could just, I mean, whatever design we want, they're capable of doing. And it's just under that price as well. So we have a couple different options.
So how would you do the concrete, stamp it into concrete?
So 657, you could do the mold for that amount.
I could also do the metal.
Or
You could repeatedly.
Well, I don't think that's 67 good mold for that.
The mold I have from Brand, whatever, Brand Wagon, I think it's Brand Wagon, I'm really sorry. It's,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
And I'm correct in saying that Jacobson's has been very gracious, saying, in the past, not particularly to this project, if we come back to the yard with extra concrete, we'll put it into something the city, if you want us to do.
yeah, and we have talked to Jacobson's about what that would look like if we purchased the mold and, you know, if they'd be willing to help us, and they've been very gracious to say that they should help us with this project, so.
Comments, questions?
Thank you for your work.
Yes, appreciate it.
Well, I will just toot your horn a little if you don't mind. She's been in some pretty, interesting bump out meetings, and people have their opinions, and they have every right to have opinions. But she has always handled that with a lot of grace and answered everybody's questions, so we should be very proud of our tourism director.
She's been very good.
Thank you.
Well, I feel bad making this motion because I'm working on King of Corn Beautiful, but I'm gonna make a motion to support this agenda item.
Second.
Probably move to second to, consider funding the tourism request. Vice Mayor Mizek,
Yes.
Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
I'm a reluctant yes. I hate the rock. Better than what's there now.
Councilwoman Ritchie,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 8, consideration of street closure on Paul Avenue from Santa Fe to Walnut, leaving north and south intersections open to traffic from the evening of April the 10th through April the 12th with possible action.
I move for the approval of the street closure on Paul Avenue from Santa Fe to Walnut on the dates listed on the agenda item.
Second.
Probably move to second to approve action item number 8. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizell,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 9, consideration of a special event application from the Garvin County Democratic Party for a public event held at the Depot Pavilion, June the 4th, 2026, with possible action.
So this is last year when we approved that any event that's gonna have certain, where they're expecting a certain number of people in town, that they have to turn in an application. That's what this came in, it came in fifth application, and they have turned it in for us to vote on if you're willing to approve this event.
They're not closing down any streets, they are simply using the Depot Pavilion, but it is a public, meeting, so they have more than 50 people, so just as a formality, they filled out the form. It is from 5:30 to 6:30, so it's a 1-hour event. They have no vendors, they have no,
There's nothing else, there's nothing else going on in town that day.
Do they have a title for their event or just?
it says Meet the Democratic Candidates is the title. It says it's just a chance for the candidates to put their best foot forward, to meet people. So again, they're not closing anything down, this is just to notify us in all emergency, that there will be a gathering of possibly over 50 people.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Probably moving second to approve action item number 9. Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 10, consideration of approving a proclamation declaring March 24th through March 31st, 2026 as Arbor Week in the city of Pauls Valley with possible action.
So part of this comes in again is to, it's helped us keep our tree city thing, we have to do it. It's also something that we promoted, for us to keep our tree city thing, we're supposed to do a couple events. We've already done the tree planting, we've done the pictures, we've done it. This is just one of those steps. This is the same date that the state is declaring it as Arbor Week. So basically the proclamation is there, we have everything to be signed, take a picture with it. And then that's just one of those steps.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Probably moving second to approve action on number 10. Vice Mayor Mizel,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett. Yes. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 11, consideration of approving an agreement between the Pauls Valley Public Schools and the city of Pauls Valley regarding scoreboards and field lighting at Wacker Park baseball and softball fields with possible action.
So I believe y'all have a copy of that agreement. So the city came to us, we've been working about the baseball field for a while. They have found that they're willing to supply a scoreboard and to give us the football fields off the lights. And then we can install them on a baseball field. Some of the things in the past, they're saying that they cannot invest money into something that's not their property. But this is basically an agreement that they will own the scoreboard, even though it's sitting there. If they decide to leave, they can take the scoreboard with us, with them to go. But basically it's an agreement that they're gonna pay for the scoreboard. They give us the lights and then it just goes on our property. This is the process that we had to go through with that agreement to get it approved. Do you have any questions about it?
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Probably moving second to approve, the agreement between Pauls Valley Public Schools and the city for scoreboard and field lighting. Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 12, consideration of a presentation from Enterprise regarding the proposed city fleet plan with possible action.
Thank you. My name is Chris Sharkey-Goss. I'm your client strategy manager of Enterprise Fleet Management. And I'm here today to present a plan regarding your fleet going forward of your city vehicles. If you excuse me, I'm going to kind of walk back and forth.
He's got to run the computers.
I got to run the computer slideshow. I've been working with Joe and Chief May for the past year plus on your fleet vehicles and trying to come up with ways to be strategic in replacing them and coming up with a plan going forward to get your fleet a little bit more current. As you see today, we have about 37 vehicles in your fleet that are 2016 or older. You may or may not remember back in 2016, the city took out about $1.2 million to freshen up the fleet at that time, a one-time shot, if you will. And since then, there has been a whole bunch done. In the last year plus, we have replaced 5 vehicles, the 23, the 24, the 25. The 23 was a nice new vehicle that we found on a lot. That was a brand new vehicle for the police department. So that's why it seems like, why is it 23 in there? To replace those last 5 vehicles. We want to put together a plan going forward to refreshen this up. Back in 2016, 2018, 17, a lot of safety features, a lot of technology has come to these vehicles. Lane assist, brake assist, blind spot assist, different things like that. So it's important for the safety. On top of that, when your vehicles get 10 years or older, maintenance expense goes through the roof. Fuel expense rises, fuel efficiency in new vehicles much better, so we're going to be able to see hopefully some decline in some of these things.
So we already have a plan in place now, right? We've already done some with you guys.
Yes.
We have a plan However, we gotta create a budget for that plan. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about today.
Once he's done, we'll talk about some of the things that y'all have experienced and what we're looking at. That's why this is being presented.
So what I'm talking about today is what's called a cash infusion leaseback. Today, and we'll review numbers here in just a moment, but what a cash infusion leaseback is where we give you the equity or vehicles in cash. We do 70%. You keep the 30% equity in the vehicle, so when later on, when you go to maybe trade that in for the next vehicle, that 30% equity is yours. And you basically get that to start your annual budget. Okay? So we basically buy your fleet vehicles, take title, lease them back to you, and then kickstart your budget. All right, so baseline is gonna be the yellow line highlighted here. Today, you have 5 leased vehicles, annual spend is 64.8. Maintenance, we're using, for maintenance and field, we're using industry average numbers. Today, you guys keep track of, correct me if I'm wrong, maintenance and fuel are both recorded for both equipment and vehicles, so there's no way to separate your spending just on vehicles. What's that?
Not the way we have to.
Yes. So what we did was, there was a study, McKinley Group study in the state of Arkansas, the government vehicles. They took a look at the vehicles and what were they spending true maintenance in there to all their fleet of government vehicles. And we kind of use that as our benchmark. So we come up with 22 cents per mile maintenance expense on an older fleet of government vehicles. That's how we came up with that number. So basically today, your fleet budget is about $250,000. Your 5 lease units, and then what you're spending on maintenance. Any questions on that before I really get into it?
It seems really high.
So what we're proposing is a cash infusion of close to, or just roughly $245,000 to take over 27 of your vehicles, take title, lease them back to you. That gives you a starting budget to spend. We're also gonna replace 6 of your units in that first year. Your lease spend is gonna be $216,000, cash infusion $240. You're gonna have 6 new vehicles, so you're gonna start seeing some things come down a little bit. Your cash outlay that first year, you gain $110,000 because of that 243, you're only spending 139 for the lease.
And how many vehicles? 6?
6 in that first year. So what we would do is we order 6 of 8. They don't get here because we're gonna build. That's the other part of this, is we're gonna do factory order. That's the best way to do it. Get the cheaper buy, the government pricing, and then we get those in. You don't start paying for them for that 6 months until they get here. And so that first year, you're just gonna pay payments on the 6 for 6 months. Second year, we're gonna kind of replace 2 a year of your. So you have 45 fleet. We're taking over 27. It's gonna take a little time to a year to get through, to get, we're all under lease. Once we build that lease budget, you're replacing the lease payment with a lease payment. Okay? As we turn your vehicles in, these are the equity in your vehicles. As you see, it takes us 6 years to replace your entire fleet. You eventually bring your fuel expense down, your maintenance expense down, and then you get an annual budget of $459 for lease payment, with an equity roll of replacing units and cycling units, maintenance fuel expense, your annual budget's about $460. Today it's about $250. After 10 years, you spend about $1.7 million replacing your entire fleet. In some instances, you replace it a couple times, because we cycle through that for 4, 5, 6 years. Versus back in 2016, where we took 1.3 million and only replaced about 20. I'm gonna pause there.
So on the value of the fleet that you guys are purchasing,
Mhm.
what numbers are we using to make the determination of the equity and the value of the vehicle?
So today, what we've done, Chief May got us pictures of all the vehicles. Front, back, it took them a few days to do it. But front, back, size, we have a little number of reasons. We use black book value, we use a fair market value. We know there'll be dents and dings, we know that we weren't care, but we've seen pictures of them all, so we have a good idea. And we go off of that, the guide. Once we actually decide, okay, let's do this, then we'll come out, look at each vehicle and say, okay, here's what we're gonna get. But
So y'all know.
So it's a projection on down.
it's a very, very solid projection. My fleet strategy manager, that's what he does, he looks at vehicles and it's very strong.
I mean, let's face it, they're not doing it for free. So they're making money somehow on the deal. So.
Yeah, they're making back. Our biggest
They
thing
should.
is like, this seems like a thing to do, it's like, if you notice, I mean, this is the thing, it's coming in the fact that we talked about it. We need to replace, as you said, the first year we're looking at 6, but 4 of those vehicles are gonna be police vehicles that we're gonna have to replace, because they're desperate, that's why. And the 5 that you look at, 4 of them are police vehicles already. Those have to rotate, those rotate a little quicker. That's why some will be rotated through. Well, that was where we started this, how do we figure out how to replace those?
So the reason it makes sense is because if we had a garage with 2 mechanics that were changing oil all day long and taking care of them, this would be, but we don't.
We don't. Right.
So that's the reason it
And
makes
once we
sense.
get to the fact, that once we're now that our vehicles, the majority of our vehicles are 10 years old, it's no longer oil changes, it's other repairs. Like, I mean, we're between $100,000 and $150,000 on just vehicle repairs annually. That's what this year's budget is. That's what we spent. We budgeted $321, but we're about $150 is where we're at for all that.
And we do have a mechanic. Is that correct?
And we do have a mechanic, but it's, but
But he doesn't go 24/7 to vehicles.
it's there. Now, the reason this works is because when we really step back and look at it, we are positive cash until year 3. That gives us 3 years to start breaking our budget so we can start making like how we go. Because in year 3, all of a sudden, like now we're gonna have to actually start having to outlay.
Because you're already spending this
vehicles.
already. Yeah, so, yes, so year 3 is where you're really kind of starting to hit out of pocket.
So 2029, is that what you're saying?
Yes. And so, and this is the schedule of replacement, just, again, keep in mind when I say a lease back, when we take title, we're gonna cycle some of those out as well. So for instance, you have a vehicle, let's just, one of your 2015 Tahoes, where we'll give you 5,000 for it, and you have equity left in it, 2,500, so we'll lease it back to you for say 300 a month. In a year, it may need replaced, so we're gonna replace that $300 payment with maybe a $750 payment, what have you. So we're gonna continue to recycle all the vehicles. So when this 33 number's here, that's the 27 plus 6 for the first year. Next year, we're gonna do 8, we're gonna do 11, we're gonna do 10. We're doing a chunk of stuff. We're gonna do it 4 the first half of the year, 4 the second half of the year, so we can kinda space it out a little bit. Again, as I mentioned, if you order it today, you don't start paying for it for 6 months, but at least you have a plan going forward. And then hopefully, once we replace the entire fleet, now it's 6 to 8 a year. Maybe growth will happen, maybe different things, and then we can interject that in.
It's the next few years where we're trying to turn over the pretty old fleet of vehicles.
Yes.
And are we doing 100% lease right now?
Just right now, just 5-year units are leased, just those 5 that are most recent 5.
So then why are we talking about 100% lease instead of doing like a mix, like our vehicles that have lower mileage that we don't drive as much? Why are we not looking at owning those?
Those we would hang on to and use those. Those are the ones we're not gonna buy back from you or lease back to you. As we're going to 27 under 45, because some of those ones don't necessarily have a whole lot of value. The market value on those aren't great. And other ones are getting used more. So those are like the kind of backup fleet.
Okay.
Those will get replaced in 1 or 2 a year, just to cycle them out and get them out of fleet.
So far right column, the annual fleet budget. Of those, that's our expenditure.
Per year.
Yeah, so we're
So right
locking
now, you're
ourselves in-
roughly spending those, yes.
And we're locking ourselves in 461,000.
That's the best thing, you're not locking yourself in. This is flex, I mean, things happen, right?
That's what I was saying.
So you may have a huge year, and hoping this is the time to jump, we may move this 8 to 15, or we may say, you know what, right now we just don't have it, and this 11 may turn to 3. There's some flexibility built into this. There is nothing that's locked in, other than the initial transaction of us taking title, leasing back. And again, keep in mind, our leases, the equity in the vehicle is your equity. So anytime, that's the whole plan, is we try to sell those out and cycle them at the right time. So when it's worth something, we get money to put into the next round of vehicles. That's how we stay with a consistent budget once we get there.
I mean, because the 486, 450, we can't do that. 5 years from now, 4 years from now, it's $400,000 right now we're spending. You know, to what happened.
We're overdoubling where we are now.
I mean, Joe, how did the hell you think we're gonna come up double what we got now? We can't stay.
Let me tell you, I-
He'll let tell
Well-
you, this is why y'all are looking at this now.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
somebody please.
Please.
So-
Yeah.
And I understand the big number, let me just break it down to an department, because I've been in the enterprise program now for, I don't know, about a year and a half. But our vehicles, it's all in how you look at it, and I've dove into this since I became police chief, because vehicles is our biggest expense in the police department. So, you cannot keep a police car 10 years, can't do it. 150,000 miles on a police car is 300,000 miles on yours. They get drove different, they're put in harsh conditions, and they run all the time. So, keep it on 10 years, they're wore out, and you surplus them out, I might get 2,000, I've got 4 left that are 10 years or older, and I know I can only get $2,000 or $3,000 for those. 3 of those I put rear ends in and transmissions in this year. I've spent about $6,000 on them. Repair money like that is you just open a window and throw it out. That vehicle's not gonna be worth it, but you gotta have it. So we had to fix it. If we can figure out a way to do this program, you don't have those repair costs. So some of that, 400 and that big number, we're gonna be able to get from all the maintenance that we're spending on these vehicles.
So where we're spending almost 100,000 on maintenance now, as it drops down to 35,000, that's 70,000 that we're recouping.
And we don't have to get to that 400 and something $1,000 number. We get to where we're comfortable and can budget and stop.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is why can't we buy 4 cars a year ourselves?
So I can answer that too.
To this.
From the police department's perspective, that's what we did. For years, we bought 3 vehicles every 3 years. And we paid for one every year for 3 years. So I had to budget, I wasn't the chief of it, but we budgeted $60,000 for 1 year. My current budget for vehicles is $53,000 on this enterprise plan. I have 4. I could have 5 for the 60 that we were budgeting, and they're brand new vehicles. That's why it makes sense for my department. Now, the rest of the city, it's a little different. They don't drive the vehicles like we do. And they'll last a little longer. But for me, this program is way more efficient than what we've been doing. And I have so many vehicles, only doing 3 every 3 years, that makes you keep vehicles past the 10-year mark. And you're spending too much. After year 6, you're spending a ton of money on police car repairing things.
And we don't have actual numbers broken down on maintenance and fuel for the police department versus the city.
I've
Now,
got,
he has his, some of his he has,
I
but
keep
the
bringing
rest of
things
them
back.
don't, the way we have built our budget. We have our vehicle expenses and our equipment expenses all in the line item. And we're gonna try to change it, because we really don't know what is really being spent on some of our vehicles. Because our vehicle and equipments are all the same repair bill.
So when we're talking about replacing, we're replacing the park department, we're replacing 3 or 4 police cars, and we're replacing,
Based on a need.
yeah, exactly. All over the town, we're replacing
Right,
vehicles,
it's-
not
it's
just police cars.
Not just the police, this is looking at, not just police, but it's, it's the police department and the white fleet.
Well, thank you for your patience, because this is
And you're determining
complicated.
who's in need, you guys are determining that.
Well, some of it's like, say, vehicles that, like, so for example, right now, we got 3 vehicles in the shop, and some of them are really needed, because, they're like, I need a vehicle because I have to go do this, but yet my vehicle's in the shop. And it's in the shop all the time, that's the vehicle needs to be replaced. Some of it is need, some of it is mileage. Some of it we can move vehicles in departments, around departments other than the police department. But it's like, okay, you have a higher need than somebody, you may need a new vehicle. And then we may not, the vehicle that's coming away may go to another department that has less demand.
So if we decide not to follow the lease schedule, how would we get notified, like, hey, we're not doing 11 this year, we're doing 4? Like, what's the process you envision for if we were to do something different than the lease schedule as proposed? If we say, hey, we approve this, And then like, I just wanna know, like, how are we gonna know that like,
Well, I think where it comes in is like, a lot of these
Before
still
this year,
say,
not
I would say, they'll tell you, the reason you're looking at this is I want another set of eyes on this as well, because even flat tell you, I've asked him, he's come here for months now, and I'm like, what do I do? Year 1, year 2 sounds great, but year 3 kicks us in the butt.
Joe, we would still have to come before you
Yeah.
when we buy the vehicles, because we're spending the money at that point. So
Yeah.
you would still know what we're buying and how many.
So you're working
Prior
with
to
department
purchase
heads
27 over a certain.
and the fleet company to make projections
So
about what we're
where we need it.
but you're still coming to us then for the final approval.
so Chief, like when you say we're gonna approve it, is it just gonna show up in the payment report that's embedded? You see what I'm saying? It's gonna be a line item.
No,
still have-
they
you
all
still have to
belong,
put it in,
they
but
don't
they're not
say we're gonna
exclusive.
purchase
We
this.
need that bring it to us.
They- Yeah,
Well, and we
just
have
like
oversight over the budget every year too, so we can see that.
So you had a question about the 27, but, so,
Do we have to buy 27 in a certain amount?
no, there's no, again, this is where we work together, and again, this is where I wanted to, you asked about just buying for whatever. I'm not just a conduit for acquiring vehicles, I'm looking at the whole total cost of the ownership, okay, I'm looking at, are we picking out the right vehicle? So when Joe comes in and says, I need a F-250 for my street guy, I'm gonna say Ram, Chevy, Ford. I'm gonna take a look at what their price is, what their government incentive is, what's their average maintenance expense on that particular make, model vehicle, what's their average fuel economy. I'm gonna take a look at the resale and back, hey, what's it gonna resell for us back in 5 years from now? Are we gonna get more money for this one or that one? That's how I pick out the right vehicle. On top of that, we're gonna look at terms as well to say, hey, which vehicle is gonna give us the best terms? Is it a 4-year deal? Is it a 5-year deal? Is it a 6-year deal? So we're gonna look at that one. So when we pick which vehicle to replace, one is kind of neat, it's broken down, but I'm also gonna chip in and say, hey, you have 2 F-250s in your street fleet, I can get 25 grand a piece for these right now. This, you owe roughly 10, we got 15 grand in equity, let's turn those in and put those into another round of vehicles. So that's kind of, I look at the whole thing, not just the acquisition.
Where did we come up with the number of 27?
We took a look at your fleet and which ones had some value and which ones did not. There are some that.
You have some that are too old.
And are we required to buy? I mean, take the number 27 out with this lease, this contract, and
No.
what are we required to purchase then?
So it's us purchasing from you, we're purchasing from you, and it's to get you that $230,000 cash, or $240,000 cash to start the budget out with. That we came up with 27, how can we get the most money to you guys to start your budget out?
So the other choice is
And-
to do like John was saying, we don't do the lease, they don't lease them back, and we just, so we're gonna spend so much money every year and buy vehicles. And then those vehicles, we basically just go out and purchase vehicles on our own.
I'm just having a hard time with the 451.
And let's say we had to do this lease purchase agreement, let's say it's over the 10-year term.
Mhm.
You're saying we can adjust it from 11 to 4 to 3,
Mhm.
cancel it?
Yeah.
I mean, so what is there a penalty for canceling it or?
No, the equity of the vehicles are yours. If you wanna get out of it, again, you get out of it. And anytime you can call me up and say, hey, what's my net equity in my entire fleet of vehicles? I can tell you what that is. Again, our goal, that 450 number, keep in mind, over 10 years.
No.
Oh,
Stop it.
No, the goal is, like I said, back in 2016, you took 1.28 or whatever it was million to get 20 vehicles. I'll go back to that slide. 1.7 million over the next 10 years replaces all of your vehicles and keeps them within a reasonable time frame of being newer vehicles, low maintenance, low fuel mileage.
So the next
And
question is,
so,
why don't we get rid of the, so you're picking the vehicles that have got equity in them now, those are the ones we should keep, we need to get rid of the ones that don't.
you keep that equity though. I'm giving you the most money I can to start that budget. So if it has 20,000, I'm giving you 70% of that. You still keep the other 30% of equity in. So when you do cycle that in, that equity is still yours. I'm trying to get that 240 as high as I can for you. And let's be, and again, being honest, your vehicles are 2016 and older, right? So there's equity in it every year that it goes on, that equity is gonna drop.
It makes more sense to get rid of the ones that are 2008 than the ones that are 2000.
Actually, it doesn't, because if, again, you have a 2008, it might be worth 4,000, it'll only drop to 3,500 next year. Where if you have one that's worth 20,000, it could drop down to 16, so you could lose more money that way.
But it runs.
You'd have to ask these guys, I can't tell you.
Well, we could declare all that stuff surplus on down the road, just sell it and be done, and
Yes.
That's what
if
you,
we
that's,
wanted to get rid of those.
that's what this column is here, surplus, you, assuming you.
But
make
we
a
kinda
surplus.
need them as backups, right?
We've done it once, and I guess it's worked fine. We did it last year, didn't we?
You lease 5 vehicles, yes, you lease 5 vehicles. Now, again, the idea is to get on a plan to be proactive. When you factory order, take advantage of government incentives and be thoughtful in what you're getting, you can pick and choose what you're getting versus what do they have available for us. It's like, just like going online and picking out this is what I'll order my own car, that's what we're doing here, we're picking out our own vehicle. And you're paying for what you want, not for what's available.
But when you're talking about government incentives, you're saying because we're a municipality and we're ordering police cars for the fire department, that's that government incentive that we're getting to support.
Government incentive gives you a
purchase.
cheaper, let you buy a car,
Yeah.
cheaper
Well,
than you buy
I
a car.
appreciate y'all's patience in helping me understand
Yes,
this.
no,
thing.
totally. I'm sorry.
Do you do this program in any other municipalities around us?
Yeah, I used to become a sheriff. of this.
Marlowe, Collinsville, Centerton up in Northwest Arkansas, Wilburton out in the east.
And I've spoken to other police chiefs that do this as well. Again, I can speak for the police department because that's what I operate, but for a police department, it's a very good program. It's hard for the upfitting and all that jazz is what we look at too, but buying vehicles is getting more and more difficult. They facilitate a lot of things that I wouldn't have to do, and they find the best rates, they find the best cars, what the best program is at the time. Where I had to sit down and research that and talk to car salesmen, and I'm not good at
And so
that.
your time is worth something.
Yes,
If for what it's worth, back in July of 24, when we signed up to partner, the plan was to have about 12 to 15 already in place. We've done 5 because that's all we can do for them. So let's go back to, there is no contract per se, other than when you do get a vehicle, you know on until you're on the right side of it, exactly.
So we make the lease payments to
Enterprise.
So it's a monthly budget item.
finance this.
my ultimate goal at the PD is get all my vehicles on this plan. It's a ramp up, but then my budget will never change after that. I mean, moderately change for vehicles, which is a huge part of my budget, my entire budget. So if I can get that to where it's level, it makes car buying and maintaining a whole lot easier on me.
So I've been saying, trying to figure out how you guys make your money, you make your lease payments.
Yes,
And that's fine, we're gonna pay it to anybody.
yes,
So we're gonna borrow money, or we're gonna lease it, we're gonna pay that to anybody.
And your fee is under Sourcewell, is
They're doing our work
contracted
for
cheapest.
Right, I mean,
And fee,
they're making money from it, they would be good.
Well, that's right, I mean, that's what I get it. I'm
So
sorry.
it's a lease thing.
You're
You're paying them a fee, and the thing is that after the lease,
But they
like, say, we have a vehicle for 4 years,
You're doing the work.
they got it back, and they have the equity back.
Yeah, we shouldn't have an expectation, they do this for free. They
well,
deserve
and
it.
again, my hope is that I pay you back tenfold by looking on the back end, making sure we're replacing at the right time with the right vehicle, not just get you a bunch of vehicles and then turn my back and walk away.
So my
I
question
think
to
the
you,
investment theory is
Joe.
27, you're thinking, but we don't necessarily have to do that many either.
Yeah, so I mean, if we did this and replaced those first 6 that first year, I mean,
Yeah.
it should stay the same, I mean, yeah. But again, where do these numbers go and what is functional out there? And then are you, again, the thing we try to avoid is knee jerking and saying, okay, let's go spend 60 grand at one time to buy a team car or truck or an SUV, whatever it is. Proactive planning, again, you have officers, I mean, this is a,
but my question for you, Joe, is so if we do adopt this plan, a certain number of those each year will be police cars. And then a certain number will be the rest of
Because like right now, if you look at it, they would rotate, and police cars would be continued to be rotated. So like some of the ones that they have right now, their drivers will be the first ones that will go back and return in. So we may actually have like we may have a vehicle, one of the last vehicles being replaced,
might be something we still have, it might be the very last to be replaced, the police car might be replaced twice at that time. You know, because you're only gonna replace, police cars have, you know, once you get so many miles or so much wear and tear, that's gonna be it. Some of these may carry longer, we may say, hey, you know, we may say, you know, this vehicle, we may drive it closer to 10 years. Because it doesn't get a lot of mileage, it's not getting a lot of wear and tear, and it's holding that value. Some may say, well, you know, this one, value's changing now, certain vehicles become popular, like right now, the F-250s, you know, for, you know, the F-150s, I mean, they're trading value, something.
So the other thing too, remember, if we set up a lease, say, I think a big one, a 5-year lease, doesn't mean it's 5-year lease. I may call you year 4, it's at 86, 80, right? Or we may get you year 5, and like Joe said, the 6 running 5, we don't need to turn it in, it's just keep it a little longer. Again, with adding or taking away from the number and with the length of the lease, it's all open. It's, again, because it's your equity in the vehicle.
So it's really, even though those are projections of what we're replacing, it's a yearly.
It's a yearly. The thing to look at is, so we are approaching the point we're gonna start looking at vehicles, just like you did in 2016. We're gonna start looking at replacing multiple vehicles, not just the PD, but white vehicles. So right now, we don't have the budget for it, you know, and again, do we go out and we take a big loan again, it's gonna borrow 1.3 million, pay it off over so many years? Or do we move something like this that we're getting an infusion, but in the long run, your payments balance out. That it's cost us a thing, we have to, and this gives us a couple years to say, now let's start pushing back so we're gonna meet that down the road.
So
Versus
do we own the vehicles? We're leasing them from you?
We own it, you keep that. So it's your equity, our
From the initial, on the initial fleet, but what about 5 years from now? As we buy replacement
we lease it to you, it's your equity. Every vehicle you lease from us is your equity.
Yes, there is. Pretty rare.
What's that?
Pretty rare in vehicle land.
Well, not out the gate, but again, the whole idea is to plan to have equity on the back end to flip it. Again, with the cash infusion through 3 years, you're looking at about, about 170,000 out of pocket in 3 years to replace 6, 14, 25 vehicles in those 3 years. Now, again, your budget doesn't jump to there, but again, with that cash infusion, you're out of pocket those first few years, 176. You could go buy 3 trucks or replace 20. And again, you have 3 years that ability to make your budget as, hopefully, and again, if you can't, then there's things we can do to.
And then you actively manage this program and tell us, hey, now's a good time, let's trade or let's swap.
Joe and I meet at least twice a year. This past year, we met more times than that. But at least twice a year we meet, and we review the numbers from the previous year, what we spent, all those things. And then I give a recommendation, here's what I think you can do, here's some vehicles that are worth some equity, some market value, can turn into something. And then you guys make a decision, I just make the recommendations.
How long are the leases?
It varies, it depends on your vehicle. Best case scenario, again, like I showed in that last slide, we pick up which vehicle we go with first, and then based on cents per mile, which makes the most sense. If you have a vehicle that's putting 25,000 on a year, we're gonna do a 4-year lease, if you wanna get rid of that thing before it's 100,000 miles. But if they're already putting 10,000 miles on it, we're gonna do a 5-year term. And then if they need to run it longer, they can. 5 is the max year lease. Really, truly today, the idea is the lease back cash infusion kickstart. That's really what we're, because anything after that can change based on what's happening, changes in the lease. But that's a step forward to building a budget.
What helps us budget is the bottom
Mhm.
line. It helps us budget is the bottom line.
Exactly.
It helps, like I say, it helps us now. You know, we had a big hit in year 3, but it helps us now, we're getting some vehicles replaced. Helps us now, and it helps us to plan, so we start saying, like, I've got 3 years, which we've said before, we gotta get our budget under control within the next 3 years.
So at the end of the 10-year cycle, so where the last 3 years is negative, there's a negative cash difference per year of 211,000. What happens in the 11th year? Because I mean, you're showing 10 years, could we just come back to
That
the
will
table
just
and look at
continue.
that?
This, again, this will continue, this is in today's dollars, and this will continue. Again, and this is -211 versus what you're spending today.
And so if you turn around, if you really step and look at that year 10, that year 10 will be a bigger number.
That's what I'm saying. When you look at it, it's like, I don't think that the last 5 years of the deal is gonna be the exact same number every year.
No.
And I know that's what I'm
We're
saying.
using, I'm just using today's dollars, because again, there's a lot.
Because
again,
inflation's going
as we
to
mentioned- As we mentioned that,
There's no scenario I can think of that we're ever gonna be able to pay $461,000.
but you're paying $250 today, and you need vehicles, so now you're looking, you really need to find 211.
And we can still control it. We
Yes,
can control the flow.
that's 100% yes. Yes, you control, I just make the recommendation.
So obviously, where we're locked in is the term of the lease, the government, 3 year, 5 year.
No, I apologize. There's no lock in there either. Again, that's a target. We're trying to target what payment makes the most sense with monthly budget. And on the back end, where we find the most value, when we go to the cycle of the vehicle, where we get the most cash value on the equity. So again, I may say this vehicle at 4 years, we should go sell it for 25, 10 on it, there's 15,000 equity, down payment to the next vehicle, move on down the road. Or, again, maybe the monthly payment's more important than this bigger vehicle, so we look at lower payments as long as we can. So there's a couple different options. And there does come a point too, if you have some of the bigger trucks, like Joe mentioned, that you may run for 6, 7, 8 years, then it does get paid off and your payment goes down to just the management fee, and that's it. It's like $30, whatever it is.
But they have incentive to make it for it be a fair deal because they want to sell us a car. I mean, they want to lease another vehicle.
You want a long-term relationship with us.
I want a partnership, and I want, there's no doubt,
One thing that I'm planning for, and I'm running out in a plan is upfitting a police car costs $20,000. Put lights, sirens, radios, all the things we gotta have. My plan is when I return these vehicles, the equity I get will cover the upfit of the next one. Now I'm just paying for a vehicle, not the upfitting. That's my goal, where in the past we've not done that. We run it till it dies, and we get the $3,000 or $4,000 we get for it at the end. Trying to be efficient and use every dollar I can
So this
efficiently.
may be a stupid question, but so the lights, sirens, radios, you can't move those from one car to the next?
No, it's just like everything else now. Technology's outrunning it, and honestly, radios right now, in 2 years, they're obsolete, you can't even get parts for them. And they do that on purpose. It's just like cell phones, they want the technology and charge you for it, so.
some vehicles you can, as far as like service trucks, like service bodies and stuff, like if you're just getting a chassis, some vans will transfer over, so there are some instances that way. And we do recommend that, in some instances to save money, control gauges sometimes, different things like that. Again, when we make recommendations, we look at all that. And keep in mind, I know, I don't win if you don't, right? If I don't run here, I can't go down to Ardmore and say, Ardmore, look at what Wall Valley's doing, right? And so please understand that that's.
Speaking of that, what cities our size or budgetary, I mean,
Marlow, I mean, I'm sure Stacy first.
Chief, I have one more question for you. So how many years do you think it'll take you to get into that pattern that you're looking for?
It,
3 or
The-
4?
yeah, about 4 years would do it, if we can stay on a consistent 3 or 4 vehicles a year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the explanation.
Anything else I can point out? Another question?
I have one more question for you, Joe. So this will be city vehicles, police vehicles, what else?
That's it. Cities, white fleet and E.
Street department.
Yeah, that's a white.
And like the fire chief's car, sorry,
Fire chief's car would be there as well.
okay, so not the fire trucks,
Not fire trucks, right?
ones that chief
Right,
has.
and this would include like trash trucks and that's the thing, all of that.
Thank you, sir.
And if y'all need postpone this, table it, that's.
Um,
I got it.
No, I think that we've got,
We kicked it out. We didn't talk this much last year.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we move into this plan.
I'll second.
I'll move to second it that we approve the agreement between, or the city fleet plan. Councilman
Grimmett. Is that right? Oh, Vice Mayor Bison, Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilman Urschel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie, Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we will make it happen.
We have one master contract.
What's that?
We have some sort of contract.
Oh, yes, you have one already for all.
Okay.
Yes, you have one already, each vehicle has its own lease agreement.
That's something Jay's looked at. You know?
Yes,
Yeah, when we got into.
Yeah, I mean, y'all had to do that before.
Just make sure.
Okay. Item 15, consideration of an address from Police Chief Don May with update and announcements related to the Pauls Valley Police Department with possible action.
so Joe has talked to you guys, I think in the last council meeting, sorry, it's a police officer thing. Can't have people-
Yeah, but let me do it behind you.
They'll have to back to the door.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Giving updates from each department. Tonight, I want to start with, we have an announcement for 2 officers to get promoted. Heath Chapel and Stephen White. Why are you hiding? Come up here. So, Officer Heath Chapel has worked as our school resource officer for the past year and a half, I believe. He took over halfway through last year, the last school year. He has since, he does a fine job. He's our DARE officer. We have not had a DARE program since Roger Hunt was at the police department. That's been 37 years ago. So he's being promoted to sergeant tonight. He will be over our patrol, one of our shifts in patrol. And then next school year, we will have a different school resource officer. I know, but you'll love her.
Okay.
Or him.
Okay.
I ruined it. So, appreciate Heath for his school resource officer. He keeps the phone calls down for me, and he takes care of the teachers and the administrators at the school very well.
He's working on the Easter egg hunt right now. He's taking one of the team.
And I appreciate his family being here. That's great. Thank you guys.
Oh, God.
This is worse than Corsage, you don't have a problem.
Short paper.
It's not a short.
It's an important thing, so I'm glad you're doing it down here, Chief.
Yes, we will do all our promotions here. I think that's important for the community.
This is something
And you guys-
I asked them to do because it's like, y'all become more involved with them and you're seeing it, and I hope you can see that we are supporting our police departments.
Stephen, step up.
He's like,
Stephen
"Oh,
White
oh,
is currently a sergeant. He's being promoted to a lieutenant over patrol. At the police department, we've never had a lieutenant over patrol. That's always been a shared position with the lieutenant over the detectives division. Brittany and I have some goals that we want to achieve. And in order to do that, we need this type of structure. So he's being promoted to the patrol lieutenant.
Look at me and smile.
See, it's an awkward side. That's what I'm trying to do.
You know, if you just stick it there and slap it, doesn't stick it up.
Right.
When you slap, that's like everyone is, I mean, it's excused.
You know, when we came in here tonight, there were all these police officers. I was a little nervous. I was trying
I'm
to
glad
figure
you
out
came.
where this is a very good thing.
Just make sure y'all are good. So,
Okay, thank
check on y'all.
you.
Make sure we're
We should clap though.
And then a couple quick updates. You guys.
Congratulations.
Thank y'all for your service.
Thank you very much.
A couple quick updates from the police department. I brought before you a few meetings back about the grant for the drone. We finally got the drone in. Stephen, and I both went to a class to take, as a pre-exam to take the drone, certification exam. Stephen did his last week and passed. It's a very difficult, exam. I've not got the courage yet to go take it. I still got to study more. But he is now a licensed drone operator. We have a drone to use for law enforcement. It's a very nice $7,000 drone. So that's good. Brittany and Officer Helpingstein went to a 2-week sexual assault academy, is the proper term, with OSBI a couple weeks ago and completed that. We continue to do a lot of training, and just a reminder, most of it's not costing the city anything. We're finding other organizations and groups that are willing to help us with that. So we take advantage of all that we can. So
We're thankful for that.
thank you.
Thank you. Item 14, consideration of an address from Kate Cooper for a request to seek grant funding for Pauls Valley Regional First Responder Opioid Impact Education and Resilience Initiative with possible aid. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm not Kate, Mayor.
Okay.
That's my wife. She was supposed to be here, but through what we do, and we're here to talk about it. It does get better. Don, you'll get to stand like this Monday when we take off. So, as a former police officer, Pauls Valley, I ended up in Norman. I'm out of it now. I'm with Inner Circle Mental Health. A quick little breakdown of what we're trying to do and accomplish with you is basically what outlines the next grant. You guys have, I think, the last copy. I tried to make a copy better. Obviously, we're pressing on time here. Ultimately, what's happening is we have a major deadline to the 31st to try to get support. You guys would be the facilitator. You'd be the host. We do all of it. So we're not adding more hats to your police officer. We're not adding more hats to your city. Simply, we're trying to come in and we realize that through America, there's clearly an opioid issue. It's not just the front lines. Families are impacted. Society's impacted in general. My first overdose ever was here in Pauls Valley. So, kind of goes hard. I came back down here because I know the logistics behind it. Don and I still speak east side of the business. I know there's a lot of stressors. But it's broke down very well. Not so much on your guys' end. You guys got one to try to get Don quicker, but he was faster than me, which is fine. We'd be participating basically, hopefully, as the lead Pauls Valley. When it was already confirmed, they are giving us a letter of support. And then we go into Lindsay, Mason, and Stratford. I am waiting to go further with obviously based off of this presentation to you. Our targeted projection would be about 13,900 people as a society. So we're going to be training the officers, training the fire department, training the EMS, training the dispatch centers to basically be able to handle a crisis. Hey, my son's overdosed. That's not a phone call anybody wants as a parent or as a mother, father, whatever. So we're trying to make sure that they will handle it the best level they can to our community. Obviously, there's thousands of trainings for that. Now what happens when we go home? Now we have an officer that just worked a 13-year-old kid and just mistakenly taken an opioid that we don't know what it is. That's happening right now in Oklahoma. I just released that. So several things are coming up. It goes back to how we're aware of it. Inner Circle Mental Health, we are actively working with agencies across the state for the mental health of our responders. I could dive into the logistics of force and the statistics of angry officer use of forces versus when that's what we're grounded in touch with. Hey, this is just a call. So beyond that, we're going to be trying to basically push this as fast as we can. I know it's a lot of information. Ultimately, the city, all you guys really, it's really just now to sit back, be able to publish the check, say, hey, we're going to phase 2, we're going to phase 2, 3, 4, so forth. It's a 3-year term. We're trying to do basically just under 600,000 over a 3-year span. But we're targeting up to 160 responders of the county. And this troop may be involved in Troop Barrios. We serve here as well as Pauls Valley, the others, so we just showed up. Good times, good partners. But I mean, if Troop needs to be involved in this as well, we can offer to them working with communities. If somebody's straggling down, maybe Carter County. Is Carter County south? Or the north? Yes, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so maybe Carter County would have someone that's looking to, build a team. So we're trying to build these teams with the money off this grant. And what we need to move forward here is letter support. Letter support would be absolutely great. And then we need, the constable officer, you guys' approval, we need to submit the application before the 31st. So they only need what we would need initially right now is to be in contact with the city who does submit grants. Other than that, my wife will come down, Zoom or in person, whatever is easiest, have it written out, we can upload it as the city, per the terms and agreements through legal, all that stuff, nothing janky. We're gonna make sure that we can get that in there as fast as we can, that way we can submit to this grant. Why we're pushing so hard for this, we're in another grant, review, and they brought up this grant in particular, that nobody's applying to it, we need people to apply to this so we can get this out. Does that mean we're gonna get it? I don't know, who knows, right? You don't know till you try, so.
Who's the funding source?
It's a federal grant.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. There's several other that we do have in the works as well to come back to this if this doesn't work. This one's just very pressing in time. I'm trying to get this over with.
You don't ask, you'll get.
It does have some indirect costs to the city, about $46,000, is that correct?
Correct. So there's gonna be some indirect, but it'll come right back. So ultimately, the goal, the outline right here, I think is the total budget was gonna be, total budget right now is $525,000. Now, that's what we'll need against, anything that we don't use, we're gonna stick true to it. We're not in it for, we're not gonna make this $1 million, right? Like, I want my response, my friend, my family to be able to go back to their family. If that means at the end of the 3 years, we have, hey, 500,000 or 50,000 laying around, City of Falls Valley. I want nothing to do with it. You guys put that towards the list of things you have to do. Like, get after it. It's all you guys. But the grant will be used for this outline proposal.
So the grant funding will pay for all of this,
So it'll be basically
spread around to all the different agencies.
correct.
The
We'll do is all work with the
services
city.
you're providing.
If we can get maybe into some of the large conferences, maybe just everybody piles in there. We actually designate, like, we're making peer teams. There's a lot of stuff around for peer support. It's fantastic. However, though, I know every single one of these officers, if I came in and then after a critical incident, only like 3 of them know me. The other 10 here won't talk to me. It's just new. It's not gonna happen. They don't trust me, they don't know me. Now, if I built that in right there, I guarantee that'll be the best briefing or debriefing they've ever had in lives. But we have to teach it. And I know, honestly, during your meeting, it's not easy to do because of funding. So we're trying to bring the funding and say, hey, we'll train you. We really don't have a fail point here other than I need your support in a building. And or maybe a couple buildings. Well, I don't know if you saw them in the clinical, we have clinical support. So basically, if we have availability, I'll bring a therapist down. And we can put a therapist in an office somewhere, within the city, PD, wherever's needed, the fire department, whatever's needed. Just to give the offering, hey, this is available. I think I had like 150, over the course of 3 years, it's like 150 sessions for immediate family as well as officers or firefighters and emergency services. So this will dive into a threshold of, hey, my officer just got into a shooting, or hey, my firefighter just got into a serious accident, whatever's going on. What about that family? Well, they're incorporating this as well.
So it's not families of the victim in theory, it's
No, it's
It's
strictly
families
first responders. First responders, correct. And I'm not trying to sound excited, but there's a lot of support outside of law enforcement, first responders, right? It's definitely a challenging subject.
So you're asking the city of Falls Valley to serve as the fiscal manager for the regional initiative. So every city that you're going to that's within our area, we're going to become home base.
Right.
Provide an office for a clinician to come and speak with.
Sure.
I had that.
Okay.
I'm already,
So then what exactly, the $46,605, how does that impact the city of Falls Valley?
when it comes back to you guys,
Well, how does it impact us? It's coming.
there's really no.
no, I just need this. So it's the awareness on the web, yeah. So basically, we have the grant, and then we have Pauls Valley, and then we have the training. Well, Pauls Valley needs to say, yep, we're good to go, we'll pay off the grant, send it back up to the grant, get the money back. It's just gonna do this number, weird number. The payments, we're building all this. I have a doctor that's, she's got a PhD in high-level trauma, so she's the one that develops the curriculum, uses it on me, she uses it on other, candidates around us. We're doing this across the state, and now I have the opportunity to say, hey, let's help you with a grant you may get it. If we get it, let's rock and roll. If we don't get it, then we try for nothing. They're more than worse.
So my only question is, so those costs appear to be soft costs, not hard costs. Are we cities doing the books for them?
Correct. But we're gonna help manage that. So like, are you still doing those? No? Oh, okay, that's how long it's been, almost 10 years it's been here. So, but basically, we want The biggest problem that we see is another agency comes and says, we want to do these great things, and boom, throw this big, huge pile of something on your lap. You're like, what is this? No. I always want to go to come in and talk to the city, talk to you guys, like, hey, this is what's changed, this is what hasn't changed, this is what we need, this is what we don't need, and then that's it. We handle it, we submit it back to you guys. It's the easiest possible way, because one, we want to save our brand. I don't want to veer off of that. Not that I suspect it may change from the city, but it could happen, right? And we're going to lose obviously if contract agreements through all the cities that are involved.
Okay, so I understand this correctly. There's gonna be an administrative, system and accounting system in theory to manage the funds of this grant, and you're gonna teach us how to do that.
Correct. We'll come in and absolutely, yes. It'll be,
It's more like they're gonna do it, it sounds like.
yes,
You're
the
gonna be
least,
involved.
look, all you guys have, your hat's full, you have your hat's full, they have plenty of stuff. I don't need them or you. It just maybe it's the least stress possible, and we're just gonna handle business for 3 years, but it's all
And we're
you
the
guys.
pass-through point for everybody that's signed up around us.
One more time, I'm sorry.
We're the pass-through point for Winniewood or whoever, whoever's incorporated into this grant.
Correct, so if I get these other guys that are around you on board, basically you are the facilitators, however, you don't have to do anything. We're gonna be in contact, all transparency, nothing like that, nothing weird, I don't like that, we're putting an idea, I'm good. I'm good, I don't wanna deal with that, or put you guys at risk.
You need to get some clarification on,
Well, because this, like I said,
yes, because we can be liable for,
yeah, there's lots of this. The
Correct.
other side is, so he's put their budget together, and typically they put in 5%, because 5% is how the budget's allowed to write as administrative costs. But that 5%, okay, that's 5% that we're gonna say we're gonna pay 5% to us to administrate. But how much of administration is this? Because again, this is the liability, as you're talking about. It's also the management of the funds coming in and out. Because we become the administrators of it, that means Tyra and
that's
state
exactly what we're
Tyra.
just talking about.
Somebody that has to, the money has, somebody
Right,
is
has to
turning this
account
into the grant, applying for the grant, going through. Again, at this point, we don't know, what's the turnaround? Because again, is this we spend and get refunded? This needs more research.
Right, and what we'll do is a post-agreement, say the grant's awarded, there's still obviously questions for us that we have, like, it looks great on.
So I don't think there's a problem with us making a motion to write a letter of support.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we support it,
Doesn't mean
that
we-
doesn't mean
no,
that we get the
right.
stuff.
There's, a 10% chance we get it, maybe, I don't know, I have no clue, so if we get it, great, then there's gonna be a follow-up again with the,
Right.
obviously,
Well, we
in
I
actual
hate
contract.
to say this, but it doesn't mean we can't pay. Because it looks like it's gonna be
That's
what
the
you
support.
want. And then
Unless,
our
of
city
course,
office-
since we're supported this,
In our
it's
city
something
office.
we're not signing off saying, we're not
I just-
signing that thing on the grant.
If our auditors say you can't do this, I mean,
Okay, so
The-
what is the timeline?
The major focus that I would need to be able to work with the city of Paws Valley, submit the grant under city of Paws Valley in December. Please, 5/5, about 5, yeah, but again, what will happen is say that you guys are like, yep, let's do it, and then I'm going to immediately probably send somebody down tomorrow with a conference. This week, someone will be here to start facilitating with the city, what's needed.
And who's gonna do the facilitation of the city's part?
Honestly, I would suggest Kyra be part of that when it comes to the finance stuff. I mean, I can do it, but I'm gonna have to ask her questions.
of course, she doesn't look
But,
good.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that. In that,
Have you support that, Joe?
You say what?
Support having Kyra consult with us on
I
this?
would, like some of this, too much of the grants we talk about, talking to Kyra, because she knows some of these. Because there's a lot of these things that we need to know. Again, what's the turnaround? Is this a upfront cost and we reimburse? Or are they gonna put this money somewhere and it's being held someplace and it's managed?
And then we
And
apply
then
for
she
the
pulls
expenses.
it out or applies it to the thing or some things to it.
Yeah, I don't think-
I'm gonna take 5 days is tough to get this done.
Well, this is essentially the grant right here.
That's it, that's the grand overview, that's
Yeah.
it, that's what it is.
I don't think it is. I think the grant part, the logistics, if they get awarded, that's a whole different animal.
Well, this is what you're gonna be presenting for the bulk of the grant, along with letters of support.
Yeah, unfortunately, you guys got more my version of the grant where I dissect what I'm looking at. I have a better one, I absolutely share what you may, get it back to you guys, the more
readable.
Formal.
Yeah, the easier to read what's going on. I mean, basically, just like right here, like per training, we're gonna be doing 54 trainings, and at rough cost will be about 2,000 per training. So like, that's a pretty fixed cost. We create those materials, we create the budget on that, and we're gonna stick to it for 3 years. I don't want that to happen where you guys do walk in on trainings for 2,000 right now, and all of a sudden there's whatever, which you commonly see across the board, and now my training's for 5,000, hey, where's our 3,000 additional dollars? That's not happening. We're moving in the right direction to work with, not against. And I don't wanna make it stressful at all, and I get the legal side behind it, but that's why as a whole, if awarded, there's gonna be their parameters, well, we're gonna have to take a look at. And no matter what, at the end of the day, if it is awarded, I don't believe we have to take anything. Like, if it comes to something to us, like, if they come in their bylaws or we come down the pole and we're like, no, I don't wanna deal with that, it's too much overhang, it's not worth our time and stress, it's not gonna be worth the cities and the surrounding agencies because of change, something changes. We're not gonna put you guys in that position because there's other things we're working on the backside that like, I don't wanna burn a bridge over something that's.
Don, forget you knowing, you okay with it?
Absolutely. Well, we'll take inner circle out of it. Mental health for first responders has got to be a priority for any chief in any department. The amount of trauma and things we're seeing now, I've been in the department 10 years and it's vastly different than it was when I started. The societal differences are huge.
I don't think any of us disagree with that, it's just the
Yeah.
process of making this
Yeah,
happen.
So if we can make the grant work and it's legit and legal and it fits what Joe needs it to fit, Kyra's good with it, I absolutely love this. Cause I can't provide it. I can't provide it with the budget I have. We do provide something, but I pay for that out of our special fund because it means enough to me that I can provide them something and it's provided by them. And I love that program as well, but this goes way beyond that.
So in all transparency, I personally don't have a problem making the motion to support it. You need to know that, our attorneys might start looking at it, our auditors may start looking at it and say, you guys can't do this.
Yeah, and that can happen both ways. Like I said, the grant is, this big on the overview, with even smaller than ours, we broke it down in section how we could make it work, and they might come out with something once it's awarded, completely left field, like, whoa.
I'm just making sure we're all on the same page.
100%. Yeah, I would like
That's
to,
what you're saying.
from this meeting forward, I would like to see, we could use you guys as facilitators to lead on this. Paul's Valley's in, they got us at home to start this, we're starting this out with you guys. And then hopefully if the grant lines out, everything's, fingers crossed, if it lines out the way it's supposed to be, we're messing with federal money, who knows what would change, I have no idea. Wait, none of us know, right? But I need, by the 31st, if I go before, I don't want to go forward with anybody else, to be honest with you. I know the need down here, I work closely with them on the field, but I would like to see it being pushed forward. Yes, we use you as a facilitator, but support as well, and then we go forward. And hopefully, it lines out the way it's read. I don't want to mess with legal. Those are lawyers. Lawyers I like, lawyers I don't like. But they know the law, which is the point. And so, we're gonna work with them again, not against them. That's the point. Is that they're our responders as well as the community in general. This is, I think, the best place forward in that state. And I do talk to a lot of lawyers.
Well, there's another plus. I know this is gonna provide a wonderful service for you all, but we need to get better at grant writing. So we need to learn from somebody like this is gonna.
I subcontract as well, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a very valuable tool. I would be happy to share her information. She is phenomenal. She's got us in a lot of places.
I
but
believe
yes.
I know Kate.
I'm sorry.
I believe I know Kate.
You may.
I believe.
Maybe your farmer's market from a few years ago. Yeah,
That's-
we
I
didn't.
thought that was the Kate that we were thinking about.
That's her. Yep, that is
She's
Kate
pretty
Cooper.
stellar
She
person.
is, as you know, and I will vouch, I will stick my neck out for my wife. She does not veer off what's right. And
Yeah,
she will
she's-
not give you the wrong answer just to make it a good conversation.
Well,
She's-
I'm a retired school counselor, and I know a lot of days I carry a pretty heavy burden home, so I can't imagine what you all carry. It's probably enormous some days. So I am in support of this, and I will be glad to write the letter of support if you want me to.
Joe?
Or you.
I, like I said, I talked to Don about this, it's like, it has a need. We have a need for it. My thing is the same as y'all saying, like, what are we,
Get
I
ourselves.
think the letter of support is great, but the grant until we see the grant and what the restrictions are on the grant, but again, you don't see the grant until you actually apply for it and get it.
We're all in agreement of that anyway.
And then, right, and then we're saying like, okay, we can put the grant in, but then do we move forward with the grant once you get the restrictions on the grant? That has to be until we see the grant,
Because it's us that have to implement.
because it has to, us have to.
What's
What's
us,
taking
us trying to do it. So we're the same,
Yeah,
if it doesn't make sense, I promise you.
All right.
Like, it's just not worth that, rather shake hands, say, hey, I really appreciate the support, what else is out? Let's go to the next one.
And you hate to write grants that you don't know, but this is a grant that's new, no one knows this grant.
Yeah, I just think.
I'll second Bonnie's motion.
Okay, absolutely. I will
Probably
make
moved
that
and seconded to approve action item number 14. Vice Mayor Meisel,
motion. Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilman Urschel,
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Thank
If
Appreciate
you want to
Be
write
in
that
touch.
letter, you can write it.
I don't mind running it, but I can't do it till Friday. I've got entry.
I'll let you know, I might have it done, but I don't know.
I do have a day off tomorrow, so.
But no, anyways, we'll work on it, we'll see. Okay?
Okay.
item 15, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance amending chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, providing updated definitions and regulations for dangerous and vicious dogs, establishing requirements for confinement, identification, insurance, sterilization, disclosure, and rabies control, providing for enforcement, providing for severability, and declaring an emergency.
Hello. Not a ton of changes in this. We just kind of discovered that we could quite align with some state law as far as animal against animal attacks. Everybody's pretty clear on an animal versus a person. But the state is pretty firm that an animal against an animal can also be a vicious animal or a dangerous animal. We were missing that gap in verbiage there. So we're wanting to introduce that as an amendment. While we were at it, we were looking at changing the identification process of the vicious animal as well. Campbell Pet Company, they provide a lot of veterinary supplies, animal control supplies, stuff like that. They have a package that's made specifically for this, for municipalities, or people with a vicious animal. It's just a standard 1-inch neon orange dog collar. It says vicious animal or dangerous animal. Same thing with the leash, and it has the posting like a sign, which you can see on somebody's yard, which says dangerous dog, where dog on the property. And it just lets somebody know that in court, this dog has been declared an aggressive nuisance, that everyone is aware that it's on the property. As far as the insurance and restraints, as far as keeping the animal on the property, having to sterilize if it is vicious, all of that is staying the same, nothing has changed.
So the owners gonna have to make their dog wear that.
They would have to wear the collar, yeah. Yeah, they would have to wear the collar. So currently, right now, if a dog is being vicious, anytime they're outside of their property, obviously they have to be on a leash like any other animal. They have to be muzzled at all times too. This would be something where if they're on the property, so in a court, going back up, in a court system, a dog is considered an attractive nuisance, meaning a child or somebody else may not know that that's a nuisance, so they can just wander upon it. So where they may not have that dog muzzled up quite yet or whatever, it's just that one extra layer of identification. It's an alerting color, it's very well branded on what it is, and it just gives someone an initial, okay, this is a dangerous animal. And even when they are out on the muzzle training is getting more and more popular, and it's not meant always to be like a negative thing. I think a lot of times people see a dog with a muzzle on, they think, oh gosh, this is a really bad thing. But it could just be that they're not socialized, maybe they don't do great in the bed, or they don't do great at the groomer, so it's easy to throw that muzzle on before we go out. It's really easy, again, with that attractive nuisance, to just walk up on that animal and realize that it is, a dangerous animal. And a lot of these animals, my dog might bark at you, but he's not gonna make a peep, when I pull in the driveway. And so it's not necessarily that these animals are bad animals, they've just had an incident, so the court has said, okay, you've had an incident, you're gonna need to have insurance, you're gonna need meet these parameters, and we're just wanting to expand it just a little bit, and then, of course, apply that to animals as well.
Move for approval of the ordinance amendment on chapter 4 as listed in the agenda item.
I'll second.
And declare. Well, that's second.
Probably moved in second to, approve action item number 15. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meisel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes.
Make a motion, we declare an emergency.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded to declare an emergency. Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meisel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes.
Did you want to give your report, what you did this month?
Yeah, I can do that right now as well, but you want?
Yes, fine.
Yeah.
Just- we already
Why
got
you up here? Come on.
Yeah, while I'm already here. I printed you guys a copy as well, so you can get the visual. So you guys know we've made a lot of changes. Obviously, the past couple of years, I've now been with the city 2 years. March 3rd was my 2-year anniversary with the city, so we've changed the way we do enforcement, we've changed the way we've updated even now some ordinances that, need to be changed. Policies, procedures, just a number of things, and training as well. So this is through March 16th. I had this prepared a few days ago. And Pulse Valley Animal Welfare, we've taken in 194 animals so far this year, compared to the 247 during that same calendar period in 2025. So we've actually had a 21% reduction in animals. And then if you look at that chart, it's going to show you where that's coming from. We've had 22 less cats in, 17 less dogs. And then the other, that just kind of groups it all together, because we may have we picked up a rabbit at Dollar General in the parking lot before, or a chicken, it could be, it'll be domestic pets that are adopted out, but they're still just kind of grouped together in that other. So those have actually dropped down quite a bit as well. The stray decreased from 162 to 127, so that's reflective of improved field resolutions and proactive community engagement. So we're seeing a lot more. We do come across a stray cat or a stray dog, or what appears to be a stray cat or a stray dog, and it actually has identification tags on it. It has city tags, or maybe it doesn't have tags, but we carry microchip readers now in the trucks, and we scan it, and it has a microchip, and we can return it in the field to the owner, and not actually have to run it through the shelter at any point. Owner surrenders also declined slightly. This one, it doesn't seem like a lot, 68 to 54. Financial hardship and housing still being the remaining drivers. That's probably always going to be our top drivers. People get into a tough financial spot, and that's one of the first things to go are their pets. But as we continue to improve our community programs through the Paws organization and on the city side, whether it's stuff that we keep on our trucks to provide people in the field, or it's pantries there at the shelters, thank you programs, whatever that may entail, that we're hoping to keep seeing that owner surrender number keep going down, because that's the old idea. The shelter is made to bring in animals that have been hurt, they've been displaced, they've gotten lost, something like that. It's not just to be like this overall collective catch-all for animals across everywhere. Daily intake has decreased from 3.29 animals a day to 2.59. Obviously, that's an average. Reducing strain on shelter resources and improving capacity for care. March 26th, month to date, is currently at 100% live outcome. That was on the 16th. That's actually still true today. We've not lost a single animal this month. That includes both medical euthanasia, behavioral euthanasia, and then just general life care. Sometimes you just receive an animal that's too far gone. You've administered medication, no matter what, it still fades away. But right now, yeah, we're at 100% for the month. Year to date, the shelter is operating at approximately a 98% live release rate. That's like unheard of in the state. We are one of the top performers in the state of Oklahoma for municipal shelters. We're in the top 3 for live release rates. So the national standard is a 90% to be considered like a no-kill shelter, and that again can include your court cases, that can include behavioral, medical, care. All that considered, we're still at a 98% release rate, so we're really proud of that. Trends continue. Projected annual intake is expected to be 940 to 950, compared to the historical average around 1,100. These trends reflect continued progress toward proactive community-based animal welfare models, focus on reducing unnecessary intake and maintaining strong life safety outcomes. Anybody else?
Some things that you've changed are actually receiving.
Yes, yeah. So out of every animal that has been intaken since this, other than the litter of puppies that we're helping with, so as far as animals like picked up off the streets that came in, every single one of them has been spayed and neutered. When we went to surgery this week, we had 2 cats today. So used to, it was, man, we're like dreading surgery day. We're taking 20 animals in for surgery every Tuesday. And that's just assuming that they can get all 20 done. We may actually 30 that we need to take. So we're seeing more and more weeks where that number is under 10. So the spay neuter rate is getting a lot more compliant as far as the animals coming in. And then on the flip side, we have the spay neuter clinic each month too for the Paws organization. So that's also helping. It works hand in hand. The food pantry, we're seeing lots of people getting up for food. We're actually hoping maybe in a few weeks to look at putting another pantry somewhere in town. So we can expand on stuff like that. Microchips in the animals when we're picking them up. So we're seeing more and more stuff that's compliant. Like that. That's a good thing.
It is. Thank you.
for raising awareness.
Item 16, consideration of the fiscal year 2026-2027 interlocal agreement between the City of Pauls Valley and the Garvin County Commissioners with possible action.
Basically, this is the interlock agreement we do every year, allowing so that when we're allowed to get help from them, they're allowed to ask help from us. It's just an agreement that we're able to go back and forth. So we take more advantage of it than they probably do of us, which helps us.
I move for approval of the 26-27 interlocal agreement between the City of Paul Valley and the Garvin County Commission.
Second.
I'll move second for action item number 16. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Gurnett,
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meisel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. Item 17, consideration of an executive session for discussion. Item 20, new business.
No new business.
Item 21, Barry. Y'all, thank y'all for staying.
Last vote.
Well, we appreciate it. Item 22, city manager comments.
Things are looking good. Like I said, trying to get reports in from different departments. Most departments are, showing progress in a lot of things. I would think I'd bring you a little update on our water leak at the airport. You notice that was turned into one leak turned to 3, and we had in a 2-week period, that one leak ended up being 10 leaks. In that same time, we've come in, we've moved right there by the airport, by the golf course. You see the big hole there. That was put in not as a leak, that was put in as a cutoff valve, because we have that section that's still leaking, and at least we can turn water off so we're not draining our tower. We had several days there that we were draining the tower, and then when we turn it off at the tower to stop our tower from draining, we turn off the Walmart DC and Elmore City, which is difficult. By putting the valve there, it's allowing us to at least start managing some of our water a little bit different. It is, you'll see on our next thing, we talk about item, that's become, that stretch is a big issue. Age, other things that have happened there, we don't know exactly what. I guess some of you are probably familiar. One time that little corner was a very wet area that had a pond there. And I guess at one time that the pond was created by the leaks and then was filled in with that water line itself.
The line's not that old.
That line's pretty, I couldn't find out more than, I couldn't find out when it was replaced from what we were able to look at. it's going back into the eighties.
That's not very old.
For compared to water lines, it's not. I think it has to do with that stretch. If you look, there's a stretch there from the golf course to the curve there at Field Spice. That's why I think that field, and you remember, was that field at one time a pond? So the wetness, they said for years that was just a wet area. My thing is, I think over the weight of that pipe that was wet because of either minor leaks that were never repaired, the pipe began to shift and move back and forth, and now it's, like I said, just break after break after break.
Have all those trucks working at the airport,
Say what?
have all those trucks moving in and out of the airport because of the runway project was back in time.
It could be, we've also think,
It's
because
kind of a big coincidence if it's not, if it's not.
we put in that lift, that, that water spout there for them, and it could be that we put in a valve that they're not supposed to be able to open it fast enough to cause hammering. And it could be, but it's just constantly pounding them, and we still have a leak going on.
So it's not going up the hill toward the tower, it's going back toward town that's breaking.
Yeah, so if you drive by, like,
Yeah, I
So
have
the old
to-
airline, industrial building, industrial road,
Yeah.
the old
the one they blocked off,
yeah,
it's
So
at the end of
follow
that,
that
is it
road.
going south, going north and south.
going north south, you drive by the golf course and come into town,
You can.
you'll see it on the right side, right there by, one side is the airport, and,
Yeah,
Johnny Sharp Place, that whole area you'll see right now, it's still a lake.
So where's it from the underground homes?
It's
Oh.
backward.
yeah, it's back there.
It's from the golf course backward.
Yeah, if you went up the hill, that's Julian Fields underground house, it's coming
Not
up
too
this
far
way.
from the
Okay.
Yeah.
So there used to be a road that was open that went through there all the way to Highway 77.
Yeah, so it's before that, the one
It's
swings around.
actually the golf course in that road.
So it's the trucks from there.
You know.
Coming out right there.
But the leak isn't where the trucks are from. The leak is close, is past Don's.
But has
So-
there been heavy equipment out there?
No,
Oh, yeah, really.
no, not on there, we're front. It could be that, though, we put in a water drop for the airport construction further up from that, and we're thinking, well, if they're opening and closing that valve, that hammering effect is pounding it. But if you look over the last several years, they've had multiple breaks there already.
Really?
I
No,
mean,
I didn't know that.
it's, so basically when we went back and looked, it's like, we've had 20 breaks in about the last 10 years. Which is very high for a short segment. But this last few weeks, we had one major leak that became a big issue. And then we started working on fixing it. And we actually fixed the leak, we thought we were done, and it's 10 feet down the way, I mean, it just blew out again. We got it fixed again, and we buried it, and the next day it's bubbling water again. I mean, we've had, those leaks turned into 10 leaks in a 2-week period. We were out there multiple times all night long, trying to get stuff done. We put the valve in to maintain it, it'll move over into our next city. We have put out a bid to say, let's replace 1,200 feet there because we're something, we've gotta,
Be proactive.
we can't keep, us digging it up and fixing it. We had one that we dug it up, and we've actually now have these sleeves. One sleeve is butted up to the next sleeve, and it just keeps moving. And they're
At least
just
it's not-
10 feet
At least it's not in the middle of the road.
At least it's not middle road, it's off.
It's off the road.
So,
Well, it's keeping all your manpower at that one spot too.
yeah, especially in the amount of water we lost. You realize that we drained the tower 3 times in about 5 days.
Yeah, I'm on that tower, so.
And it is and we turned water off. We turned, you stuck for one day, we turned it off multiple times. And we finally we started playing with it, we would turn the water on and off so we could try to keep pressure at least at a moderate so that we wouldn't get dehumidified up again. And that's part of the reason that the valve, and now it may be as cost effective, but let's just replace the whole line.
And we're still thinking that it's minor,
Say what?
we're still thinking that it's minor.
I wouldn't say it's
It
there's a
does
lot of
look
water there. I drive by there every day, there's a lot
It
of water.
does not look minor.
No, it's
seems
not
to
like,
be
it's still
getting a
it's a
little
layer. And
it is flowing water. It's just the lake of the street. Now, it's not the leak it was.
Water golf course for the whole summer.
If we put it, we wish we could change the creek the other way. You know, it doesn't grow there before it goes the other way. It goes down off the side of the hill there, but that's where it just brings it. So we have to address that.
It's leaking, what's our quick fix?
Replace it.
Yeah, but I mean, 1,200 feet of pipe, replace another, things you can do is.
Well, or hopefully that fixes that for where this.
Cut off that.
There is something, so we look at, we've done, because we've had several hundred feet of this pipe dug up as we've done through. Pipe usually has some kind of steady curve to it. It should be at a certain elevation. This goes up and down, it's crooked, and I think it's just over time repairs.
Ground shift.
But also I think at the ground, it's somewhere there was leaks and they let it sit, and the pipe has moved, and we had some of the problems that our pipes don't line up straight enough that we cannot, that's why we had to, instead of replacing one joint, we had to replace multiple joints, because the pipes didn't line up.
It's got what to bind.
They're bind up, right. And it's just making it harder and harder to control the leaks. And so we've got to look at something else. You'll see it's on the next item because we are accepting bids and we need y'all to approve the bid I already have. Then we will look to see what it's costing, what we can do to see when these bids come in. They're telling us it's gonna run about $8 a foot, we're getting about 1,200 feet, 1,250, 1,300. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. But that's what we're looking at now. That would take that segment, and that means that's a huge segment but it's maybe the longest replacement we've done in a long time. But we would hope that segment becomes solid and secure, and this pipe doesn't keep moving away from that, moving up the other side. We put the valve where it's at, because where the valve is going back towards the tower, they've never had a break. But it's a straight shut, that pipe is straight as can be, and it's nearly level. It just, as it comes around the curve, it's, for whatever reason, it starts doing it. And it could be they bored underneath the creek, which may affect, wall back there behind us, Brandon Wall's behind us, he might be able to answer some of your questions on how, if pipe has curves or goes up and down, does it cause more leaks? But it's become a big issue. And we talked about it, last time, we said we're gonna replace the segment. Well, we replaced that segment and all we did was move.
Right.
We just moved 10 feet down and started over again. We've got it patched, but it's like, and we thought it was fixed, and it's still bubbling water. And that's why we have not buried it up, because, I don't wanna bury it, because I gotta come back and re-dig it up again. If we either fix it or we replace it. So, I wanted to let you know that.
Where was the good news in that? You said you had some good news.
Say what?
When you started, you said you had some good news. Where was the good news in that?
Well, that's the other good news. The departments over, they work good. If y'all were out there sometime, we were out there, we did several all nights out there trying to get up and running. Crews did good. Putting the valve in, that was a quick and easy fix. We planned it. They were prepared. We turned the water off for 4 hours. And it was off and back on. They had the valve in, and it's not leaking. So at least we have a valve that if we have a leak, we can start changing. We can start at least turning. We're not draining the tower.
My water pressure's been good ever since that first.
Yeah, we had a week that
Bad
it was
weekend.
rough. And we played there. We tried to play the system, so we're maintaining a certain amount of pressure, so EDQ or DEQ is not on us about stuff. But the cost of that was more manpower, and we lost water. We couldn't just turn the water off and let it. We had to keep filling the tower, which basically filled the tower and then drain back out. Fill the tower, drain back out. There are some things about that, it's kind of strange that you would think that airport tower, which there it loves, is filled by the industrial tower, down by MCOR. You'd think that the water line would go up Indian Meridian Road. It doesn't. It comes all the way through town and runs up
over here off of Park Street. Paul Sargent Gate. And then it goes up and then it's all of that. So that same pipe that was leaking is how we push water. We push water through that pipe to the tower and then it drains back from the tower this way to pressurize the town. The rest of the town is water.
Well, I know when they built the DC, because my wife was on Clark, they had to go out there and get easements to a bunch of land out there. I don't, where did that, Mark, do you know where that is? That they had to put a bunch of water line in when they built the DC. Is that just go from the tower to the?
basically from the tower to
To the
the
DC.
road by Carroll's in Williamsburg, and it goes kind of southwest across that pasture, kind of with the power line over to the DC.
And that was one of those things that we found valves because we were having trouble. You know, we were losing water trying to figure out a valve. We found a valve and we thought, well, we can turn off this pipe that was leaking and keep the DC. It didn't turn off the DC and there's no valve that cut this way. That's why we put a valve. And we were trying to put it as close to where we think we're gonna have to replace pipe versus put it all the way and have more pipe. You know, we're hoping that the pipe that's for that valve to the west, we've never had any problems with it, so hopefully that we won't have problems with it. You know, that we don't have to start worrying about replacing it. So, let's see.
No city attorney, let's keep that in our prayers. Item 24, city council comments. If there are none, I need a motion to adjourn into Paws Valley Municipal.
Second. Probably the same to adjourn. Councilman Marshall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimmett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ritchie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meisel,
Yes.
Mayor Rushing.
Yes. I'd like to call to order Paws Valley Municipal Authority regular meeting. As if you will reflect our roll call. Item 3, approval of the consent agenda, items A through E.
Just for the record, this is worth stating, because I asked Tim that the majority of those purchase orders were related to the roadway. They don't have a refund, which is refunded, so you get 1.1 million, so it's worth noting. But with that being stated, I move for approval of the consent agendas, items A through E.
Second?
Probably moved and seconded to approve consent agenda. Trustee Marshall,
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie,
Yes.
Trustee Grimmett,
Yes.
Trustee Meisel,
Yes.
Chairman Rushing.
Yes. Item 4, consideration of an address from Wall Engineering regarding the update for the water treatment plant project with possible action.
So I asked Brandon to come and give us a report, you know, y'all had any questions about when we're gonna start, so forth, so I asked him to come down and give us a little update. Here, you know, that he can talk directly to you of where we're at and what our next steps are going to be.
Thank you, Joe, City Council. I'm just here to give you an update, answer any questions that you have, and just talk through what the project looks like to date and moving forward. Brandon Moore, Wall Engineering. We got the notice to proceed, of course, after you closed the loan and the funding there in January, February, sometime around. We completed preliminary design, and right now we're waiting on, once we got preliminary design done, we were surveyed for the water treatment plant, the entire site, that's topographic, and that gets all the information we need to start design. So that's underway right now. Expect that to be completed this month. Once we get that back, it'll take us about 90 days, typically somewhere between 90 days and 120 days to finish the design of the water treatment plant. And that gets us completed plan specifications ready to go out to bid. Before we do that, those have to go to DEQ for approval. Right now, they're taking about 6 months to just permit.
So we're a year from start.
We are a year from starting, yes. We will be early 2027, actually, getting out to bids.
Wow.
That's typical right now with water treatment plant projects across the board. It's about as quick as you can do one. By the time you get survey and geotech information, both of which are required by DEQ, get the design done, which depending on the size of the project, takes us from 60 days to a year and a half, but this is about a 3 to 4 month design time turnaround. And then once it comes back from DEQ, and sometimes they surprise us and going back faster than that, but once it comes back from DEQ, there'll be about a 60-day period in there to where we incorporate any of their comments into our drawings, if there are any, and put it out to bid. That's not the 60-day process. So it'll be early 27 when we actually get construction.
So bids will be the year above.
Hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah, we love bidding projects right at the end of the year because everybody's kind of finishing things up, looking for new work. So ideally, if DEQ will get us a permit kind of fast, the best time of the entire calendar year to open the bids is about the second week of January. If we can get that out to bid right around Thanksgiving, 30 days, and open it there early December, that'd be our best pricing typically. And the next best time to put one out for bid is right after the first of the year. So November, or then you have to wait through the holidays and put it out in January. So either one of those two times. You don't want to run a bid over the Christmas holidays. It's just wasting time. So hopefully one of those two times, and most of that will depend on DEQ, how long it takes them to actually finish for this permit.
I have one question. I'm sorry to interrupt you. So the water treatment plant's jogging along pretty good right now. It's our breakage in line that's causing our.
Yeah, we're doing very well on it. Water plant's doing good, maintaining, so forth. Doing fairly well. We've had a few low tests come in, but not at the plant, but out the end because of water breaks, or that we've had some low pouring because of our water breaks and we're not flushing. So basically, we will restart our flushing, which we flush our fire hydrants, which then means we've got more water going through some of those fire hydrants, which will raise your chlorine levels back.
Thank you for that update as well.
I might make a comment on your next item, which is your replacement of that 12-inch pipe. PVC's doubled in the last 2 weeks, and so is HDPE. So all our piping materials are about double what they were 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Yes.
Because of
Based on the price of the oil and what's going on overseas. So I wouldn't suggest going out and buying 1,200 feet of pipe right now.
So what would be an option if you can't buy the pipe for double the cost?
Wait.
Yeah, I mean, just
Yeah,
leave
wait.
water and keep turning it on and off.
Wait on the price per barrel to start coming down a little bit. I know right now, all of our piping projects, we bid out 3 piping projects last month. And on all 3 jobs, they came back and declared force majeure. They're asking the cities for change order right now because of how this is the roof. So it's a problem. So you might consider one thing we're doing right now on our bids. We have several projects out to bid right now. We're actually asking the contractor to turn their bids in, labor and materials completely separate, so that we can see the actual cost of materials, so that, you can hold a bid for 90 days. So we're planning on doing, we'll hold our bids for 60 days, and then determine if we're gonna go ahead and award at the higher price, or just decline the bid and turn around and go back out. With an agreement with the contractor inside our bid docs, if the price goes down, we get the better price. So in 60 days, they're gonna give us a revised price. That's how we're handling the project right at the moment. So that's something to consider. You don't want to buy pipe right now. But you know what happens? Everybody stops buying pipe. And the price is automatically going to start coming down, and the oil drops again. Then you're going to have this big drop in pipe, and that's when you want to buy it. When the inventory gets high and oil drops, that's when you want to start to buy.
Appreciate that.
I didn't know the price of double the last 2 weeks.
We just found that out too.
But that's good advice about keeping, when we do a bid, make them submit.
I asked them all the materials. But at one point we bid it out and we could find material, because sometimes we're not having to pay. They're over paying 20%. So I've already put that on bid and we request that. We want your labor costs and materials costs separate. So we can look at that.
And something else, I don't know how you feel about HDPE piping, high density polypropylene. I don't know if staff knows about that. Right now, we're able to get high density polyethylene piping installed cheaper than PVC. That's a lifetime piping. That piping can last for 60, 70, 80 years. It's fused together, it's a solid piece of plastic. It's got really thick walls. Kind of be up to your public works staff, but I would throw out there on a lot of the water mains like this now, we're asking, allowing a contractor to submit a bid either way, either as poly or as PVC. I never thought about it.
I knew that one, I think.
Well, you've been working pretty closely with him.
And he did, we did that before, I'm like, how do you do this to get the best price?
We've learned a lot, haven't we, in the last few months?
So, never thought I would see it in my lifetime where high density polyethylene, which we absolutely love, is cheaper than PVC. We used to pay triple for it. A lot of communities up in the city, Shawnee, a lot of your larger communities are exclusively on HDPE. I mean, you can run over it with a dozer.
And it holds up?
It does, yeah, it's pretty amazing. But just a thought.
And some of it goes in, like, they fuse it, you don't have to trench it as much, you can bore a little bit easier. There's some things that make some of them more costly.
The only reason sometimes the city shy away from it is you won't have the ability in-house to work on it. But my argument to that is, what are you gonna work on? I mean, you put it in the ground, it's just, nothing ever happens to it.
It's funny, the fusion part of it, and then if you have to fuse it, you can't use couplings or sleeves.
Yeah,
or
you
whatever.
got one piece of pipe.
But most of these oil companies around here, a lot of them do confuse it, can't they?
They can, we just did a project for, what was 12-inch at Shawnee, at 12, 14, and 16 inch, and we had 21 bidders that bid on the poly. So all of these, now, if the oil and gas industry heats back up, and you get a lot of these oil and gas contractors, they're used to the poly, so they love it. So that's who you get, is like Exodus Energy, this is the name of the company that got the Shawnee bid. It was silly cheap. It's around $40 a foot, 12 inch.
So around town, at one point in time, 4 city managers ago, Mark, you may know the answer to this, that black pipe you see laying around, different spots around the city, what is that pipe?
That poly pipe is
That
kind of out on
black-
the rig.
Yeah, that black pipe, what is that?
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
It's
yeah,
poly.
yeah.
I've got, I know there's a lot of people that use that. So those water tanks I have out there by Walmart, those are got poly going from the wells to the tank.
It's used in the oil field a lot.
Yeah.
Actually,
There may be enough poly laying out there that the city owns. I'm serious. You go up and down Meridian, there's all kinds of that black pipe.
Well, not as much as there used to be. There's
What happened?
what was on top of the ground is pretty much gone. There's a few places that was sticking up, but, plus, when they, first put it in, when he built the DC, they ran from that well that the city had from there, ran that poly out to the DC. And then this is, and you wouldn't be able to use it because when it's all done, before they got the sewer system hooked up to go to the sewer ponds, they reversed it and brought sewer from the DC back through to that lift station there by Rush Street. So, we wouldn't be able to use it.
Because wastewater.
Plus, I don't think it's well. Yeah, I think, yeah, so. Yeah, it used to be laying all over the place, but what was kind of laying around is not there.
Just one more thing to mention, because we do work with a lot of cities, and I see a lot of the same issues from city to city, like you're saying, in the water system. Heard talk about the amount of time to shut down and install a valve. If you ever get, and your public works staff may already know about this, but if you ever get in a situation where you can't shut a line down, or you can't close it off, it's gonna be a big hassle to shut it down. These Insta valves now are fairly reasonable. They can come in and insert a valve in a live line and not take valve service. It's supposed to be a coupling on it and allow the water to go around the coupling. And they go in and the machine goes inside the line, cuts the line, puts the valve in, seals it up, take it off, and it's a valve and a lot of them, I mean, never have to take the line out of service.
I learned about this just last week.
It's pretty,
I didn't know and none of our staff knew they were bad. I learned it from the utilities guy in Arnold. He said, we were talking to him trying to get some help.
The guy you said about the meeting.
Yeah, and he said, you know, look at this, but by then we were moved too fast, so it did not know we were cool.
none of our cities actually bought one of the machines to be able to, paid about 80-some thousand for it. They bought the machine to be able to do it themselves, spot the valves, and they can insert the valve in a live line. So if they have a major leak, you can't get shut off, the public works guys will just come up and dig the line up and insert a valve, close it out, and kill the leaks. They're actually using it in-house to insert valves.
Which city did this?
The huge city of Hugo is doing that.
They're pretty small towns.
Yeah, there's one of the.
So, just as a question, because this is what you do, you know, we see aging infrastructure all over the state. In your business, is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, everybody has the same problems with their infrastructure. It's universally across the state, the infrastructure is old. And we don't know what's gonna happen with infrastructure in the future. Well, the only thing that can happen, there's no more grants out there for the most part for water and wastewater. And everybody's infrastructure went out. So what that's gonna mean over the years is higher rates. That's the only way that we don't have what we used to have, that just run out and get a grant for wastewater and sewer. It's gonna be loans.
2 years ago, our state legislators were going to set aside funding to help with that problem. And then they wanted to give us a tax rebate instead, so put that bill aside so we can all get a tax.
Yeah, you know, they ran around to all the cities and rounded up what they needed, what their highest priorities were. And
I'd rather they kept my $50 a year and everybody else's $50 a year. Pass that legislation.
us to.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. And also the cost. When I started doing this 25 years ago, for like 12-inch water line, here the city manager say $80 a foot, that's about right. And I started this 25 years ago, we could get 12-inch water line put in for $6 a foot. So it's just the things have just gotten totally.
The last 5 years, 6 years too.
Yeah, it's tripled. Pipe prices have tripled in the last, since before COVID. Since 2019, it's tripled. And you're just getting to the point now where it's just cost prohibitive to make improvements. And I don't know what the answer is. I really don't.
So Brad, let me, while they're listening, what about this lining pipe? Where you come inside the pipe and you push that line, you know, there's some of them that are like epoxy, and some are some other type of material, right?
So we're doing that in about 10 communities right now on the sewer side. We're coming in, instead of replacing the pipe, it's substantially cheaper. We're doing one of two things. One is called a pipe bursting. So we dig the pipe up at the manholes, and we pull a pipe through, we break the pipe. So it sleeves inside the pipe. And then after that, you still have to dig down and replace the services. That's called pipe bursting. And the other one we're doing is pipe lining, where they take it's a material that they put it in a flat piece, and it expands, and seals the pipe. We're doing a lot of that right now. It's called cast in place lining.
It seals to the existing pipe.
Yes, it expands, they heat it and put it under pressure, and it expands out to the existing pipe. And then the service connections, they go through with a little robot and locate all the service connections. The robot drives through and cuts the service connections back into the line.
So are they cost effective compared to, it's definitely cost effective than to dig a whole line.
It's tremendously cost. If you're running across country, it's, you know, you can just keep it up all like rounds.
But in town, it's very But they're doing it with sewer, but are they doing it with water?
They can't handle the pressure probably on water. They just do it on sewer because of the pressure on the water system.
I mean, they warn, but it's just not as cost effective on the water. It just doesn't, I mean, as water continues to get more and more expensive, it may be cost effective at some point. But right now, it's just not cost effective on the water. If you're talking about a sewer pipe that's 20 feet deep, you know, which may cost us $300 a foot to replace, we can slip line it for $75 a foot. Well, you start talking about water main, you're better off to just dig it up and replace it. And the access points to water main. We have access points to sewer at 300 feet, but when you start talking about water main, we actually have to dig it up and cut it to be able, we don't ever get into it like we do with sewer line. So right now, it's just not cost effective, not practically, we try to get into a water line like we do on the sewer side. But we're, on sewer rehab anymore, we're just pretty much not replacing lines anymore. We're doing everything. We can do it sometimes for 25% of the cost.
Good to know.
Thank you for all the information.
Yes, love to come and share information. We represent about 100 cities, so we see a lot of problems and a lot of solutions. So it's normally always a city that brings us a good idea, and we do as we share with our other communities.
We appreciate
Because
that.
everybody's the same.
Thank you.
We do appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Happy to come back anytime. We want to talk water next month.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 5, consideration and possible action to authorize soliciting bids for replacing approximately 1,300 linear feet of the existing 12-inch water main line by the airport.
So basically, it's an agenda item, it just needs to be there, but we put the bids out, we're just waiting to come back. Right, a lot of that pressure is good to see, you know, some of those bids may come out, they just, they were a whole lot higher than it was 2 weeks ago. But the bids literally should be coming in next Friday, so we put our deadline, and then we will look and examine, just so you were aware that, you know, this is going out there, people start talking, asking questions.
No action needed. Item 6, new business.
No new business.
Item 7, trust manager comments.
I think told pretty much everything. You just have any other questions? This is why I wanted Brandon to come. You know, I wanted you to be aware of what we're looking at on the water plant. You know, we're aware that it's slowing, but you know, we do be 3 years. Well, if you're hearing from him, it takes longer to get processed before the election put out bids.
He's a wonderful partner, isn't he?
He's good to work with.
You don't hear engineers very often trying to save money.
Right.
So.
Or sharing.
Most of the time they
Right.
get paid percentage.
Spontaneously sharing information with us is great.
And, you know, you've seen Wall Engineering here several times, you've ran into me and some of those people. And then you one of the other people, Brendan, is coming in, we'll be with Brendan next week to look at some other projects. Basically get some advice on how to do, what we need to do to move forward some of our other projects. Some of our bids and some of our grants. As you said, you know, there's not a lot of grants left, but nearly any grant that's left now has to run through one of these engineering plays.
Well, and that's what you said after your last meeting, you gotta start that prep work in order
You
to be
need to
ready.
get any kind of grant anymore, they will not give a grant unless it's shovel ready. And the only way you're gonna be shovel ready is working with the county. That's what, and he said that too, what was there years ago is non-existent. The workshop would tell that no grant is being given unless it's shovel ready. And one time they're like, oh yeah, we'll take your idea and we'll pay you to do the engineering and all that, that's not happening now. They have to be shovel ready, which means, just like here, you know, on this, you know, on the water plant, you know, 18 months before you're ready to start. That's what they're saying. Grants aren't giving you that. They want shovel ready. When you get the grant, you're ready to start very quickly to move forward. Not like, well, we're gonna pay you way too much for the engineering to be done. They're not, the turnaround on the money isn't cost effective for the grant seed for that, so. On that, I don't have any comments, so.
Trustee comments?
I just wanted to follow up with you on where we are with the Elmore City and the rate.
Elmore City still in the lawsuit and argument. So it's, Jay is our attorney's handling it. It's just back and forth now to see where they're going, what they want to do, what we want to do. I mean, so far they have not made us an offer other than they just want to say they want to go back to a reduced rate. And we're like, we can't do that. So.
This is a process, still in talks.
It's just one of those things, you're just waiting to see what's, it's kind of up to them, because we can't back up. They've looked at it, and you heard him say, everybody's rates are.
Right, I was not happy, but I was glad to hear him say that, to know that we're not alone, that it's.
Yeah, everybody's the same. I mean, some are just as bad, if not worse than us, but then others are better. It depends on, how they've gone, where they maintain price, and how they've kept up. But every city that we've gone to, and I know that we came, every city struggled, and that's not just, every cities for years, some had to do with grants, some had to do with just funding. It used to be, as he said, it was cheap to put in water line, sewer lines. Cost has just gotten incredibly over the expense.
So what percentage of our total water sales is Elmore City?
What percent of our total water sales from the city?
Does Elmore City represent 10%, 20%, 5%?
It's probably close to 20%, 10, 15.
So hypothetically, they drill wells and they get the water somewhere else, we're gonna lose 20% of our water. Sharp pencil. You better start, because they're stalling, trying to find a better.
They're trying to find a better.
Yeah, they're stalling. I mean, I'm just guessing, but I haven't talked to anybody over there, but my guess is they're stalling, trying to find a better place to get the water.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I've explored that too. Problem is where they get it from. I mean, by the time you drill the wells to do that, the cost of that, because then if they drill the wells, if they're going to put it as domestic water, they're going to have to build a water plant. Even though they're not.
Grant wise, he was talking about how they're dried up. There are water wells, like I know Rural Water Number 1, I think, has recently got grants for well stuff. I mean, so anyway, just FYI, I don't.
Yeah, and I think there's a possibility, but that's what they're looking at. The other side is like, do they have the water to triple?
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
Again, do they have to, for one, is the water good there to drill and get it? Or where are they gonna buy the water rights and pump it in?
We don't have anything like that, though. We can't sell it to them for less than it's costing us
Right.
to produce it. There's just no way around that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of
We're
it,
at a loss.
at one time, I think they were saying like, okay, we're gonna go out here, we're gonna get it buy it from somebody else and build a pipeline.
There's nobody else over there.
Mason got new stuff, but
They have to go all the way to Lansing. There's nobody.
Well, and Lindsay doesn't have water, or they're gonna have to somehow go and tie into Waywood and pull Arbuckle water.
see, they gotta get permission to do that. They won't get permission for that.
No, because Arbuckle's already
Yeah,
tapped
our
out.
local town, we were supposed to be we had the option to be the last town on the line, and we turned it down. We looked at the lake instead. Because we were afraid that we would get kicked off. That's where the last one on, first one off.
Right.
And so we made that decision back.
And I think that's what there's something kind of with that. Well, we'll just connect to, Wynnewood.
Didn't Maysville just put new water stuff in?
Yeah, but
The water plant even?
I don't think they put it, I think they tied into.
I knew they put new water lines in. So where are they getting the water? Where's Maysville getting their water?
From the lake.
From their.
They still get it from the lake.
Yeah.
So they have a water plant.
They're working on rehabbing that plant.
I know, I went to Acres and couldn't drink the water.
Yeah.
Even after they got the water lines. I mean, I guess it was new, they're still working through that. I mean, I hear people gripe about ours, are you kidding me? This is like Colorado water compared to what Mayfield's drinking. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, Rocky Mountain, pristine water. I have a question about roads. So have you talked to the county commissioner, because they're putting a grant in for my road? Were you aware of that?
I did not know that.
It was in the paper. It was in your paper.
I did not know.
They're submitting a grant
Not like this.
for Royal Oaks Road.
why would they do that? Why would we take this?
Well, it's a shared city county road.
I didn't know, they haven't talked to me about it, so.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, are they only gonna prepare the south side? Because they are submitting a community block grant to resurface. And they've been taking a lot of heat from my neighborhood because it's becoming pretty bad,
The road is.
both shoulders.
Uh,
You go another mile or two, it's beautiful because it's a lot of farmers out there and they keep it
Yeah.
in good shape further on down, but right by me, it's,
You close to county, so rougher.
yeah.
Okay. I did not know that.
It's in the paper.
Any other comment? I need a motion to
I saw
adjourn.
the
I'll second.
number, I mean, so,
Okay, probably move the second to adjourn. Trustee Meisel,
yes.
who wants to say?
Let her have that.
Trustee Ritchie? Trustee Marshall?
Yes.
Trustee Grimmett?
Yes.
Chairman Blanchard?
Yeah. Oh, I'm-